Yes, lads, all of the trucks today. Yes, oh, is my microphone on? Because last night it kept turning off and I realized what had happened. I had a streamer bot action set up for that scene, and for some reason I set it up to automatically turn my microphone off, which made no fucking sense. But what is happening, folks? How are we getting on? How is everyone's Thursday going?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. I don't even like to call it Thursday. It's not Thursday. It is Friday Eve. I think that's the proper name for it. I think we should start calling it that, because it's more so the anticipation of Friday rather than anything else. Bearish, thank you for 16 months of my life, and I want them back. I'll send it back to you in the post. Just send me your address and a prepaid envelope, and I'll send it to you. McKinn's, thank you for signing the ledger. Cleo, why are you already here? I'll give you a pedal. I'll give you a pet. Level 10, night for hook. I'm off work tomorrow, thank God. I still don't have an answer for you about the cinema, because I've been phoning her, but she's flat at work and hasn't been able to get back to me. And will probably phone me now as soon as I start streaming. Cleo, what is wrong with you? What's the matter? What? You're not getting a treat yet? No one has redeemed a treat. Nobody wants you to have treats. No treats for Cleo, apparently. None. No treats for you. Right. Can't do it unless the redeem comes through. That's the law. It's illegal, Cleo. It's illegal. It's illegal to give treats unless the redeem goes through. The government will be knocking down my door. They'll be attacking my pups. They'll break in and they'll shoot me because I gave you treats that weren't part of the redeem. So I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't do it. There you get no. She does the worst thing where she just sits her head on your leg and looks at you as if, why, Papa? Why won't you feed me? You've just had your dinner as well. I can guarantee your dinner's sitting out there in a bowl, and you just don't like it because it's healthy stuff. Yeah, right. I'm going back to the game. I pretend I don't see her. Pretend I don't see her at the corner of my eye. I will be fine. It'll be all okay.
Sorry, we're going streaking.
65 stream streak. Jesus Christ, happy Irish. Thank you very much. My God, that's Sunday. Staring at the whole she is on the ball today. My God, it's time enough until tomorrow, and we'll find out the crack. No, I'll find out definitely night anyway. I had the fucking most boring day today at work. Jesus Christ, I was doing a really monotonous task, and I just sat there and I could just feel my brain melting, and I was like, holy fucking shit. But I'm grand now. It's all good. I get to play some Granblue fantasy. And last week, or it wasn't last week, it was Saturday. Well, technically it was last week, but it was less than a week ago. We had come up against that sort of general's boss that was fighting the two of them, and it did my head in. And discovered afterwards that there was like lots of dialogue I could do that kind of level up my characters a little bit. So I went and finished up all that. So I'm going to go back in the night and see how I get on. But I haven't played it since Saturday, so I'm assuming I'm going to be a bit rusty, so it might take a couple of goes because they were a bit of a nightmare. We'll go ahead and jump over to the game now. Woohoo! Right, so here we are. Dialogue, level up. Oh, you would be master level. You would be capped. There'd be no chance anyone could defeat you in combat ever again. They called him the Sammy Dabby Doo as well last night when we raided, and he was showing me his characters in this, and you might have seen the stupid damage they were doing. I was like, I feel bad now. I feel that bad. My damage is so small. What's my moves again? But that's that one. That's that one. Right, okay. That's my ball days. That's me. That's my block. Right, okay. Did he flex on you? He did. He showed me all the cool characters he had, and I was like, ooh, wow. But he like was end level raids and shit. But you know what? Fair play. It looks like there's shitloads to do after you complete the story in this game as well, which is kind of cool. You know what? We'll watch the cutscene again. We'll get ourselves up to speed. We'll get emotionally invested in it again. I actually really like these two characters. I think they're quite cool.
This tea is simply to die for.
How's the volume for you guys?
There's no better appetizer to
Turn
a
mine up a
banquet
little
of blood.
Let me know if it's too loud compared to me, Grand. Happy days.
In the name of the Sword Veil Fellowship, I shan't let you take another step.
Damn you, floaty little woman. She is the difficult part.
Let's have a clean.
Death match.
Even the mighty mountains cannot stop the wandering wind.
Face me.
I've been waiting for this.
Thank you.
A death match befitting Avia's two strongest generals.
As you can see, my boorish
Oh, there he is. One from Bamalam. What's happening?
entertainment. Not
Up, up. Where are my points? What points? What are you talking about?
Well, look at you go.
Catch this.
What points? What are you on about? I had at least 2k last night. Well, I have no say about your points. I can't remove them.
Your parlor trick, was it
Refresh your browser.
I think we've rather perfected it.
Anybody that does know Quilmosh loves Resident Evil 6.
Mighty Galanza Extravaganza.
So what? I deserve credit too.
I have 203k. Amazing. Amazing.
Go ahead. This is time.
When the going gets tough.
We're getting some good. Feel the passion burning.
No, but I feel my ears bleeding. You shall.
Feel my ears bleeding. That one got me.
Get you back on your feet.
Oh, right, everybody's down. Everybody's down.
I know it hurts.
You need to land at some points. You're wasting too much points.
Hold on, I'm
Who
coming.
is down? Shit. Right, okay. Somebody save her before she dies.
Knew Avia's elite would be strong, but these two take it to a whole different level.
You flatter us, sir.
Fuck, I'm nearly
We
dead.
have the
I am dead.
honor of your
We're going streaking through the blood and into the gymnasium.
Seer as well. 65 stream streak. Amazing. Thank you very much.
Just a nobody from a faraway island.
Appreciate it.
Exactly what a master fighter would say. You cannot hide the depth of your skill from me, a connoisseur of strength.
beauty.
It's not available. Oh no.
Oh, excuse me?
How come Sierra's able to do that then?
No.
Hey, hey.
What do you
hey.
say? No. No.
After the fight,
I'm
though.
not gonna give you a treat if you call me that.
I
What
can
do you
pause the
say?
game. It's fine.
Please,
Beat you too.
please.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm assuming I'm going to lose this one anyway. You've been sitting watching me the whole time. I'm assuming I'm going to lose this one anyway because I'm kind of but rusty in the controls. All that matters, she gets treat. There she goes on her treat. See, as soon as I start streaming, she comes up and she sets her head on my leg, looking at me. Going, where is it? Where's my treat? Look at her munch. Look at her playing for the camera as well. She knows what she's doing. She knows. Fine fucking rightly. Right. Need to get back in the game. Need to figure out what I'm doing.
Well, look at you go.
Got you in my sights.
Death breeds life.
Where'd he go?
How fast are you?
It's over.
Oh, who's broken? It's him. It's him.
Show me more of that power. Come on. Show 'em
Oh,
what we
this isn't
got.
good. I hate this one. Hit this one. Hit this one.
Just as we planned.
Exactly what matters. I know.
Look for the
It's a
stars.
cool move, but it
They
fucking
shall
wrecks me.
try that. To Providence we sail.
I think I was in the middle of a move as well when we did this.
Can't get a beat on him.
Amazing. They've managed to combine might and skill in perfect harmony.
Oh, fuck. I wandered too far. I went too far. Look what happened. Oh. The one time I've actually avoided that one. Oh, I like that one. Fuck. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm alive. Right, now I have to go for him again. Go for him again. Where is it? Where the fuck is it? He's down to 47%, which is good. Where the hell does he go? Oh, he's over there.
I knew there was more to you. Show me what else you can do.
Oh dear, look what you've done. General Galante is unstoppable once
Let's go.
riled up.
Look at all the bullshittery happening here. I've noticed as well with a lot of the moves, I don't actually have to hit them with it as long as I finish the combo.
Got sights up.
Oh, you're doing yours? I'm doing mine.
They won't get away.
There we go.
Butterfly.
Oh, I've hit the wrong person. I think I hit both of them anyway. It doesn't really matter. You put some reserves on the pitch. You're right, Sarah. Oh, you're right, McKim.
Yep, here goes.
Shine is one, promise flare.
These two make a formidable team.
Sing, my blade.
He is probably going to die soon. Here's hoping. Oh no, he's doing the swing again. Oh.
Let's not leave them wanting. Now for the encore.
How is everybody's Thursday going? Friday is tomorrow, and I'm so happy about it. This has been just a bullshitty week.
Stay focused and do not falter.
Avoided that one. Cool. This is the bullshit one.
Back it up. This show's over.
And now they start to do pulses, which is annoying. See, straight away.
We need you back in there.
Thanks. I'm all good.
She's stunned. She's fucking stunned. No. No.
Maglio?
Link, that's the odds.
Had enough yet? Or do you freaks get your kicks from fighting a losing battle?
Do not assume you have won the war yet, Skyfarer.
Oh, fuck. He's in that. Shit. I am down. Somebody help. Somebody help. Somebody help. Come on. Come on. Somebody. Two of us are down. Help's on the way. Where? Where? Who's helping? Who's helping? Quick. I'm nearly dead. Come on. Come on. Stop hitting me when I'm on the ground dying. Right, come on, lad. Why are you walking? Run. There we go. I was dead. I'm alive. Right, he's almost dead. He's almost dead. Let's go. That's him down. Nice. Yes.
General Galanza, bested by
General
See
Golanza.
now, Maglio? You have no hope of defeating us. Throw down your weapons.
No! I will use every fiber of my magic to ensure you never leave this hall!
I respect the determination, but you've lost your mind, lady.
I won't disappoint you!
I don't think so. She's beat us a couple of times. I think she's more powerful than we're kind of letting on.
Rain on the hills. Pass away! Dance of the pink petals.
Look alive!
Okay,
Let us see this through.
Let's not do anything rash.
Oh, very flashy, isn't it?
See, we will not fall. We have too much on the line. And that goes
She has
double
too
for
much
us.
on the line.
We won't abandon Lyria or the Sky Realm. Distinguished guests require impeccable hospitality.
I knew she was going to do something.
Armor break!
No act is upon us.
Go down!
Blimey Gala.
I'll do my best for you.
This should do the trick.
Left. You will not understand.
Well, she at 9%. Ooh, can we do it?
Rain on the house.
Ashes to ashes.
Ooh. I don't think mine's up yet. Ooh, there's now. Nice one. Ooh, maybe we have bitter. 1%.
No, no.
Oh, we got her.
Ew. Yep, I'm here.
We still have our group attack as well. Nice.
Shine as one. Promise flare.
I honestly didn't think I'd beat them
Guide us.
first go. Nice. 21k damage. Although it was nothing compared to Samus the other night.
Good. I regret nothing.
Oh my god. It's not those elves.
Milady?
I know well the lunacy of my position. To be making demands of you. But please, the Sword Vale are my family. If you can, find it in your heart to spare them.
Take me! I staked my life on this death match. Now come claim your hard-earned spoils.
So what am I doing? Am I picking who dies?
Look, we just want to get through here without trouble. As long as you stay out of our way, we got no reason to fight anymore, deal?
There's no time to waste.
Okie dokie.
Forgive my failure, Lady Lilith.
I honestly have no idea how long's left in this game as well.
Complete and utter defeat. They might actually pull it off.
Well, there we go. I have high hopes now. Ooh, everybody leveled up. Everybody leveled up. Well, they look like they'd fight me.
Wonderful.
Uplift 2. Right, okay.
Those two freaks were crazy. Crazy strong, I mean. Oh, I hope we've seen the last of them.
They were masters of their respective arts. Why did they follow Lilith?
Even great warriors may find themselves prey to hard times. Salvation, no matter how false, seems an alluring prize. And, well, some astrals have a certain charm, which can prove intoxicating to many Skyfarers.
They've got
Yeah,
all the
but
nasty tricks.
Does that also
What
mean
about
that
Lilith's
potentially
son?
you're misleading
He an
us?
astral
Hmm?
too?
Mercifully, no. He's a Sky Dweller, same as you. As far
It
as
seems we've reached a dead end.
Not to worry.
Lucky
There's
me.
another path this way.
Where? Where am I going? Where am I going? Where am I going? Roland, what do you know? What do you know?
Here we are. Would you all please stand back?
Am I the only one who finds this guy suspicious?
Ahead is the altar where Angra mining lies sealed. We will no doubt find Lilith there already. A special ward warps time and space around Angra, making physical contact impossible. Let us hope Lilith has not breached it yet. We have only one shot at victory. I will strike the moment she calls for Angra.
So when it gets its fuel, blast the engine? Yep, that'll do it.
Okay, people, look
Oh,
around.
nice way we save point. I was kind of wondering. Tomahawk, what's happening?
I hope these potions will be
How am I
enough.
bullying you? I'm not bullying you. Oh, chance.
To craft a weapon? Vigils need a boost?
I enjoyed that post you put up earlier on. I was all, it's Tomahawk going to start doing Resident Evil 2 speedruns. I was all, it'll be kind of cool to get competitive because I was watching Mike does audio all day. Man has fucking smashed it again. He broke into another top 3 in a different category. Absolutely fucking smashed it. I love the competitiveness of everybody in chat about it. And I was all, oh, we could get that going with Tomahawk and all. That'd be quite cool.
Oh no, is that...
Lyria, let's move!
Lily. You teabagged me on a hook? As in, the hook, the streamer, he teabagged you on top of hook? Sexy. Sexy.
Ah, it's been so long.
We can save her. We can save her.
Finally, the dawning of salvation is upon us. The path will soon open.
Clouds.
I wasn't expecting to see them again.
That's enough! Lyria's coming back with us!
What about
Is
checking
that
on my tip
so?
as well? Don't know me.
Id?
Alright, too, with fun content. Fed up with looking at my state of play video.
About protecting Lyria.
Why what's wrong with your state of play videos? It's just because you've done that many of them. All the reaction ones, I think they're quite good. And about Snapball and Tomahawk as well. It's not here. It is here. He streams under High Scores, High Stakes, the world's #1 competitive PlayStation podcast, with him, Cardinal Smith, and Mr. Lubba Lubba.
It can't be. Astreus!
It's been a while.
So he's an Astra called Astreus, a bit on the nose, isn't it? Ooh, stabby, stabby.
Of course. This was all your doing.
Mother!
Ooh, mother.
Id,
Plot
don't
thickens.
worry about me. Just focus on them.
Oh, I can fight him now.
I've been waiting.
Fuck,
for
he's
you to
whipped my ass a
return
couple of
and
times.
cast open a gate, so I can destroy Angra Minyu.
Yeah, post like 6. And another 3 to 4 to schedule. Broke the app. You broke the app so much state of play. And then we have Summer Games Fest tomorrow as well. We beat Leyoric in no time. I have to fucking start finishing some actual runs on stream. I've finished one so far, and it wasn't even a great one.
Look around. Do you honestly believe Lyria deserves any of this?
I believe in Mother's plan.
One does not reason with fate.
Yet we cannot abandon our friends.
Come.
Sometimes
Fair enough.
you have caused this crew untold agony, but this time will be different.
Let's go. Bend them pack.
You're mine. Settle down.
Understood.
Let's stay cautious.
You have
Oh, overdrive, overdrive. I have D&D tomorrow, but me and Lover might be streaming. Ooh, very nice. That'll be cool. Nerds. Fuck off.
I've always thought
D&D's
he was
cool.
inhumanly strong, but inhuman magic to boot? What the heck is he?
Oh, I got caught and everything there. Come on.
Hold on, I'm coming.
Yeah, folks, get me up. Come on, let's go. Let's go, team. I'd say this is probably a lot handier in multiplayer because they're not so fucking slow.
He rushes forward with furious speed, but he should still have a weakness.
Cancel Flame Rush, we will. We'll cancel. Cancel culture.
Sorry, we're going through the quad and into the debris. Come on, everybody!
Come on, thank you very much for your streak. Appreciate it.
Let's keep it up.
Foam on the sea.
They become this much stronger. You picked the wrong crew to mess with, pal. Weird cult or Asian gods. We always find a way to push through.
Enough. This ends now. Awaken.
Oh. Bumble, what's
Your dog
happening?
has arrived.
Bumble,
Become
thank you very much for the raid. What's happening? Well, come on. How was the stream? What were you streaming? How'd you get on? Still fuming I lost the streak, but keep on building. Keep on building. Oh, can I pause this? I can pause it. Excellent. Excellent. What is the crack? What were you streaming the other night? Were you streaming some Pokemon? What is the crack? Now, anyone raids into me goes to my Hall of Fame. As you well know, Bumble. Let's just call on over and let's see you in there. There we go. Bumble up there in the green. You absolute legend. Thank you very much for raiding in. If you need the raid and run, you definitely work away. If you want to hang about and watch me play some Granblue Fantasy Relink. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Ooh, that's one I've never played. I've never played that one. Thank you very much, AJ. You of all people will appreciate it because you're a big Final Fantasy X fan. But I've never played Wind Waker. I never owned a GameCube, and I think I just never got around to playing it then after the fact because there's so many other Zelda games I was playing. AJ, what is the story? How are you getting on? How is your evening been? I'm going to flip back now to some Granblue, but Bumble, thank you again for the raid, brother. Why did my alert not play? It did. I went diddly diddly dee. It did play. I heard it. I heard it. It was good. Getting annoyed at the end. I keep getting thrown away by a cyclone. And then told in the wrong place. Sons of bitches. I heard it too, but it was very quiet. So Leyoric, once again. You're hearing them, but we aren't. Flamash, do you want me to play yours again? Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Do you want me to play them again? You know what? I'll flip on everybody's walk on again, so once I say something, it'll happen. There we go. You hear that? I didn't hear my state. What? No, I played. It played. See? There we go. And everyone's getting shoutouts again now again because Flamash decided to be a dick. I didn't hear anything. You stood? I can see it popping up. I can see it going all green. Definitely not hearing them. Liar. Def's not hearing anything that time. Hi. I can see the streamer bot thing popping up. Heard ages initially, but nothing there now. You tell me you didn't hear that? It's popping up, but there's no sound. Oh, I hear Flamashes now. Hey, Howlies. I hear mine, but very faintly. The volume's way, way up. I think these are all gone mad. These are all collectively taking the piss. It's wild quiet. Really fucking loud for me. I'm not bullshitting you. Right, I'll reset it one more time. You can listen. Oh.
Acknowledge me.
That really hurts my ears, you know. Fumbles was good there. Right, okay. That's loud. It is. I'm never quite. You never. Flamash. The amount of times Sierra's on stream as well, and you can hear you through her mic. AJ's again.
Wow! What's happening to him?
Oh. It's very Final Fantasy, this.
Acknowledge me.
Flame that corrupts instead of burns. How is that possible? The waves.
Love this starting an hour playthrough. Oh, first light. I still haven't punished it.
Maybe Lillard is full of destructo
I have to get a
juice.
non-stream night where I can actually play it.
Said it again.
blindly attack him, he'll counter with twice the force. We need to choose our openings carefully.
First things first.
We have to bring him down.
Oh, you're okay. Okay.
Acknowledge me!
Butterfly effect. Moonrise! Rocket!
I'm up. Piercing punishment.
Yes, the captain's here.
Shine as one! Ascension!
Okay, he's already down 30%.
Just the basis of power.
What a terrifying torrent of mana. He filled this entire room in an instant.
Yep, that speed is a serious problem.
Oh, he can't just dash around all day, can he? We have to find his weak spot.
That's better than a jump scare, dude. That's fucking mental.
Wake up!
Ready to go.
Yeah, guys, he's asked for it to be louder, so I turned the volume up slightly.
Oh, thank you.
The game and walk-ons are very loud. I actually earlier about the game. Turn the game down a wee bit then. There we go. Turn that down. Game's way louder.
Now's our chance. He shouldn't be able to access those corrupt powers for a while.
He's back on his feet and madder than ever. Ready to face the music?
The pawn set. Freeze flutter.
Game was obnoxiously loud. You're obnoxiously loud. You know, the volume slider for this game hasn't changed since last week. Is it still overly loud? Don't need you to tell me that. Hey, you do. Hopefully this isn't playing everything on the feed. Yes, not at last few days, but since I've reset it a couple of times, it was going to redo all the feed again. Oh, he's gone on his overdrive again. Fuck.
Beneath the castle. We gotta beat him quick.
Dawn fly stand. Wind in the field.
Right. Flip. Go. Flip.
Activate that weird fire. We have to be careful.
Let the walk-ons are dead to play it again. I could just ban Flemish. We could just do that, couldn't we? We could be happy. We could prioritize our own happiness. And ban Flim ban one.
Big sister will help.
Where's she?
Get back in there.
If she dies, we're fucked. Oh no, she's back again. Sweet. Why haven't done anything weird? We'll see.
Clearly having an effect. Keep it up, everyone.
Right, someone get Rackham up.
Let's get you standing.
Speak, my blade.
Help's on the way.
Can someone get her up? Why am I doing better than the rest of these NPCs?
You okay?
I lost my head. I won't disappoint you.
Little present for you.
Where did he come from? Where did he go? Where did he come from? Cotton Eye Joe?
Not half bad.
Thanks.
Let's watch
Phew.
the next one too. I'll blow them away.
Oh, he's stung for now, folks. Got him. The game got louder when you switched back to it. Sorry to fry your head there. I think it's more an internal thing with the game, really, because now it's probably really quiet.
Is he actually down?
I always feel bad mentioning audio. I have a big headset, so I notice changes too. It's because Flemish and Audits that much about it back in the past, and we were just like, fucking blim blam bam a lamb. Now the game is now great compared to you. Cool. It's an annoying thing with OBS as well, because there's times you go weeks and you don't change anything, and OBS is just like, meh.
Hi, everyone. You came to get me.
Look up!
Look up, look down, to the side. Oh, empty fighting. Oh.
Farewell. Enjoy your tomb.
Not if I kill you first!
I think you two are mad about each other. I meant your headset, not your booster seat. Hook, go ahead, time him out, work away. You have the power. By the power of Grayskull, time Flamash out.
Worrying about the rain while drowning in the sea. You always were such a careless one.
He actually did it too. I think it's the first, he deserved that. I think it's the first time Hook's done that. You know, there's something that wasn't just like a bot trying to sell viewers. Oh, Roland's fucked. I was agreeing with him. The jerk. I know!
Worlds beyond. Angra, mine you.
Oh, it's your man. Did you untime him out again, though? I'll slap him. Is he cracking up? CR, you tell us, you tell us, you tell us who's cracking up. Only 60 seconds. Aye, well, a man can do a lot in 60 seconds. Hook, don't you be belittle in that period of time. Because I'm the same height as Hook, he's making fun of me too. But Flamash is the... out of everybody, Flamash is the one who lied about his height. Did he not fall in the form that he was 6 foot? When actually he's like 5'5" or something. Worth it. I thought it was a good joke.
Damn. Guess we're next.
He says he's 5'11", but Burton said he's 5'5". Burton said when we met up, Flamash was tiny there. I panicked? What do you mean you panicked? How is that something they panic about? How is your height something to scare you? Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Exactly, really tall human. Because they put me under pressure and I didn't know my height. How do you not know your height? Her coming is our death? Well, la-di-da. This is, she is all, speaking all the innuendos. Shut up, small dragon. We can save her. Because of it, I couldn't remember. Because we measured his height once, and I remembered. Why does he not remember things, though? He's a human adult. It's like he doesn't remember to buy cheese boards. What's that all about?
I can sense that it's here and yet not. That must be part of its power.
Like a lamb to the slaughter.
He barely remembers his Iron Maiden. Expect to remember. Yeah, this is true. After Sandwich Gate, this is true. 90s style. Yep. I'm 6'1". You're tall. You're definitely taller than me as well, McKins. Are we missing a person?
Only you sky dwellers had come to your senses. All of this could have been avoided. You are not worth the air.
You remember Sandwich Gate? I forgot you knew about Sandwich Gate. Do you know the only reason I know about it is because you fucking told everybody. Even when your wife said, don't tell people, you went ahead and told everybody anyway. On stream. So yes, I remember Sandwich Gate. She loves to help you, but you're the one that told us on stream it was you. You were the problem.
I'm afraid your little
I say my boys not to tell, so yep. And he went and did it anyway.
No one gives a crap about your evil plan.
Nobody gives a crap about your evil plan.
What a grating little worm!
We're gonna make you pay. There's no way you'll get away with this. Burn! No, not burn too.
Now, dear Captain, you deserve to be rewarded above all others for bringing the shaman to my doorstep. Bear witness as your entire
He's only
world
94%. I don't think I'm
Should
beating
I
this thing.
see you
Unless this is part of the storyline where I'm not supposed to be able to beat it. Oh no! You've got me! That's me! No!
It will be too
Let me
soon.
free!
No! I have to protect Lyria! I have to protect the captain!
Does this mean me dead? Am I dead? Am I dead? Oh no, that's what was supposed to happen? Okay, cool.
Please, don't take me away again.
Look at your man.
Oh, Lyria. Poor little bird, trapped by these skies. Let me whisk you away on a journey. Aboard the Ark of Angra
So-
Mainyu.
I know everyone's kind of waiting for Final Fantasy 7 Part 3 at the State of Play. But I'm seeing now everybody's like, yeah, but it makes sense it wasn't added because Square Enix have already said they don't really want it to be released exclusively to Sony because financially it doesn't work out that way, or it doesn't work out well. So it's probably going to be a multi-platform release, and I think that's why it's going to be Summer Games Fest when we hear about that one. Which I'm glad about. Oh, she did? She exploded? Oh no.
Now, as for you, the shaman's other half.
We can save her. We can save her. Oh. Loud street fade.
Explain yourself.
Mother, you told me to protect Lyria. But this? Why this? This isn't what
Father.
you said. Why did Lyria?
Calm yourself, Id. Angra Mainyu has been revived.
I hate my
Thus,
points are
the
missing. They're not
shaman's role
missing.
is complete.
Well, I have no control over your points. I can't remove them.
Your
You have
duty as
spent
her
them.
guardian is no
And
longer
you just
needed.
forgotten. Well, where have they went then?
Please.
I didn't spend them. Lamash,
Temper.
the streamer has no control
Almost
over
sounds
people
as
in
if
chat's
you
points.
Disagree with me.
Please, Belly. Probably.
My naughty child. You're no better than
I
these
even thought I'd keep them and give Cleo treats. Yeah, but what do you think and what normally takes place ain't always similar.
Forget about me.
Or silly cows. That's true. That's true.
Focus on your Link.
Oh, he wants us to play Zelda. Focus on our Link. Let's go. Oing. Although I'm thinking back to last night, I might have been the last time I couldn't do it. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. I'm still going to blame you for taking them from me. Yeah, I'm keeping them in a big box over here. I sit at night and I pour them all over the bed and sleep on them. I have 83k.
So be
Well done, Sarah. Nice one.
If she means that much to you.
Twitch probably deducted them off you
then
for
my
your
best
jokes.
laid
If
plans
that was the
may
case,
be
McKenzie,
crumble.
I'd be scant in every chat. You Scrooge
Adversity
McDuffin. I
always
do
seems to
have a
push you
big
towards
water
victory.
tower filled up with them and I dive into them.
After all, you must be confident you can prance out of here as the hero.
Wouldn't blame them, I'd pay them to.
Don't be. Humdrum tales
Although
of
there's a new
heroism
one
and
I put up
gallantry have
today.
no place on my shelf.
At Backlash.
Let us finish this charade.
Gerard. Gerode. He shall not prevail. Let the sword of Eos shine. I don't even think I use the sword of Eos anymore. I got shenanigans. Right, okay. I haven't played it as this character in a while now.
Sword of Eos. How lovely of Astreus to leave you a parting gift. What? You cannot possibly mean to use it against Angra, mind you.
Let's patch you up.
Oh, no, it's just healing. It's healing! I think it's my favorite emote. I think it's Flamash's favorite too. And he does love Resident Evil 6 because he keeps telling us all about how much he loves it. I am not doing a lot of damage with this. Blue light!
Go get him!
Oh, I'm supposed to go over here. I have to go over here. I have to go over here and do this. What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? No! No! Bring it back! Bring it back! Give me! Give me! Give me! No! Don't shoot me with it. Give me the blue light.
You're weaker now!
There we go. What's I'm talking about? I don't know. It's benefiting me though, so I don't mind. I absolutely love that emote. Flamash, thank you. I knew you would. I knew you would appreciate it. See, all my work has not been in vain, and by my work I mean ChatGPT. You're over there now, right? Okay. Aren't I can do this?
This light, could it power the sword of Eos? No, it's much more.
Wesley, what's happening? Behold, the power of anime bullcrap. We can save her. Wesley, we can save her. I think we can. Now, is it because she's pretty? Maybe. What can you save her? Hot sauce?
Do you still live?
Rage! Oh, music stopped. How you finding the game? I'm enjoying it. It's very, very good. I'm liking the combat. I'm liking the mix between Monster Hunter and Final Fantasy. And a wee bit of Genshin's kind of sprinkled on top. I'm liking it.
It cannot come to pass.
How's this? You missed.
Oh no! To be fair, I do have quite a bit of health. I think I'll be alright. I think it's maybe just one of them sort of fancy storyline kind of ones where it doesn't really matter too much because the previous battle wasn't too bad. Them two generals were some most difficult ones so far, I found. Wretch! Oh no, there we go. Cutscene! Cutscene! Stab! Well, that's not going to heal. How did they know to do that? Theorized when playing through it, this is just them to make a Genshin thing, and then they decided to make single player at some point. Yeah, you do kind of get that. The sort of does have that gacha element, but you don't pay for it. Annihilator, 29 months. Yes, actually, Big Beard Man. Thank you very much for the resub. Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you and your salmon shirt and your awesome dance moves. Why is she squelchy? Why is she squelchy with the eyeballs? Lyria! Leon!
Come on, Tiger, fucking send her on, lad. Give her beans, Tiger.
Give her beans, Tiger. it long enough, they know where this is going. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look away. This is no longer family friendly. Oh Jesus! Actually, that went a completely different direction. We did not see what way that was going. McKittens! Fucking hell! Thank you very much for the subs. You don't have to gift me subs. We got one. Lady of Lava, Spy, Kaylee, Microwave French Tea, and 720p Adventures. Wow, McKittens! Thank you very much for that. Jesus, sir, you shouldn't have done that at all.
Evil dragon, child of darkness and flames. Thy name is
Steve. Ooh, Bahamut. We're summoning him again. I haven't gifted him once in a while. You don't need to gift him at all, but I appreciate you doing it. Okay, yes, sir. The last time we summoned Bahamut, things went really, really wrong. Oh. Fuck no, kid. Only that big fight was Bahamut. That'd be a bit cool. That'd be a bit cool. Sammy Dabby Doo, what's happening? Thank you for signing the ledger. Oh, right, okay, I get to do this. Oh, fuck, it really has me doing this. Yeah, thank you for signing the ledger. Mr. Worldwide, yes. Anyway, stop following Sammy. He is an absolute legend. Please, please do so. We raided on him last night, and he actually showed us how much damage he does in this game further on. Really cool to see. Proto Bahamut. I should do a speedrun of the story. How long do you reckon that would take you? I just have to keep whacking it until it stops. Right, okay. Oh, yes. Get closer, get closer. Come on. Give her beans, Taka. Oh, yes. That one's very complicated. It's a bit weird because the start of turned on us. Dodging did not work there. It's alright, I think we're doing okay. The main story, using the captain. I've barely used them, but I had to use them there now for a little bit, which I found weird. Skyfall. Oh, when you crumble. One of his damage output really scales. Skyfall is the move. Whoosh. Jazzy, thank you very much for signing the ledger. Level 1 Womber, welcome. Favorite social players that suit me, please. You were streaming last night. We rated them. Look at the fucking... I know it's cinematic damage, but Red Mage Flim Flam Bamalam. Look at him go. Party level 66. Look, we're flying tonight. We're flying tonight. Need to wait for June 19th then. Is that when your chefs and all change?
That sucked.
Apart from a date.
Lyria? Where
Friday, American holiday. I'm not working, so I can stream earlier. Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Seed Hollow Castle, I think.
I love it. Over here, we'd have a lot of bank holidays, and I love a good bank holiday. It's just a
appears
free
the
day.
captain and Lyria
We get
restored
paid,
everything
and you don't
back
have to
to
go to work.
normal.
Phenomenal.
Way to go, Captain!
Man, it's hard keeping up with you young bucks. Always stealing the thunder.
Well done, Captain.
Say my name. Are we missing someone? Who are we missing?
Are we
rolling.
missing someone?
Never doubted you for a second.
Nope, don't actually care about you. 'Cause we were looking for other people. What about Ed? Where's that guy? Oh, there's Roland. There's Roland.
All's well that
I'm washing the
ends
dog's
well.
hair that day. Lamash, you cheeky son bitch. I'll be there. I'll be there, Sammy. Sammy. Oh, and thank you, folks, as well, for the hype train.
I want to apologize to everybody.
Absolute legenders.
Even though I couldn't control
I will probably be
myself,
there. Yeah,
I
you're
could still
everywhere.
see
You're turning
everything
into
that was
you're turning
happening.
into the ready.
All
I need
the
to find a
scary
game to
stuff
play
I
that
did,
the dogs
I was
has
powerless
dogs in
to
it.
stop it.
Ooh.
I wasn't
Pokemon.
sure if it was a dream.
Arcanine's technically a dog.
That wasn't you, Lyria.
You all still came to save me. After what I did to
New ready or new you? That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I don't think I'm as good as I used to be. I used to be a lot more in every chat. But I think since it kind of became obvious that lurking wasn't as beneficial anymore, I've been doing it less. I used to have an extension that I'd have a list of names and it would just open up tabs for everybody and then I could just sit and lurk them all. But
You're back with us
obviously
now.
didn't count in
There's
the majority of
nothing
them.
to fear.
Choo choo. Look at that frog emote. Very lurk. I mean, I do, but I jump between. Yeah, so do I. So do I. I do that now. I do that now less than just having the tabs open because the tabs don't mean as much if you're not in chatting.
I'm home.
I used to have like 6 tabs open and I'd be
Start, we're
actively
going,
jumping.
we're going streaking
and
through the
Devil
quad
Streak,
and
thank you
into the
much, son. Very
gymnasium.
much,
Come
son.
on, everybody!
Oh, Rowan got stabbed. I used to be constantly listening and chatting, but it used to tire me out awful. Like listening to 6 different chats at the one time.
No.
Oh, we've had some progress.
History repeat itself.
Rowan got backstabbed. He did. He did. Double damage.
You're all influenced by the singularity.
And I thank you for signing the ledger. Level 9 Spellblade.
Can't be stopped. You will come to understand.
Already level 75? Fuck it. These are well stacked, mate.
Have you heard of the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV? With an expanded free trial, which you can play through the entirety of A Realm Reborn and the award-winning Heaven's Ward, Stormblood and Shadowbringers expansions up to level 80 for free with no restrictions on
Fleeting visit. This is it. An advertise. Of course, Teddy. You get. Well, this crazy, but Teddy gets commission getting people signed up to Final Fantasy XIV. But I must actually go to bed soon. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Are you actually going to bed? You actually going to bed? Or are you flanging it? Are you flanging it tonight? That's a crazy bitch. Not the same length of Kafka, but she is nuts. Yeah, but she's pretty, so we let her away with it. We'll let her away with it.
Worries that shall be long
No, you
eclipsed
don't.
by the providence of a new order.
You're blind, Lilith. Blind to their kinship. Blind to their hopes and
Put my phone on
dreams.
charge on the opposite side of the room so I don't doom scroll for 5 hours. Teddy, that's probably the best way. I know a lot of people, I think Rod was mentioned the other day as well, where he puts his in a box when he comes in the house and just leaves it and that's it then, just to completely switch off.
Astraeus, all that is obvious to me is that we don't see eye to eye, and you're as guilty of the same sins as the rest of these fools.
Thank you for the thing. No, no problem, Teddy. Thank you very much for coming on. Proud to be bald. Bald Brothers. If you look at that, his real name, it's Astraeus. I know, it's just so on the nose, isn't it? That's like me being called Humanist. Or Bald Manius.
Fulfill my salvation.
New legend. And don't forget, proud to be bald. Blamash loves Resident Evil 6. Teddy, thank you for the bits. And thank you for the positive message that the entirety of Twitch needs to hear. Are you ready, Mr. Worldwide? Am I ready? Is it like Degeneration X? Are you ready? Doom, doom. Bum, 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 bum. Fuck. Right, okay. This boy's getting a power up. That's what I was saying earlier, Sammy. I found the generals to be the hardest boss so far. But I'm probably going to eat my words now. This fight isn't done yet. Not yet. that's a thing. But can we just summon Bahamut again? They shoot it. Skyfall. Go.
The pillar of Vayoi.
You would think he'd just reached it. Nope, there's something even more ridiculous. We have to make love to it.
Salvation follows at my heels. The sky will fall and the
Nope,
stars
that's our move.
will ascend. Utopia is within my grasp.
It was within our grasp.
Are we
Sephiroth
back at the altar? Would seem so.
Everybody, run!
Come on, lad, you're in our team now. Let's go. Nope. Walk into the collapsing building, why don't you? Fucking Timu Cloud. Opposing willies. I know as well, Flamash is probably playing like the first light or something, and he just heard me say opposing willies, and he's like, what the fuck? That's what I was going for.
Yes, sir. How's the second district holding up? I see him! Over there!
Oh no, the city's falling to pieces. Hey, I think we need to tell Zothba about Roland.
Hey, it's Mr. Shane.
Hey, listen.
Well, what do we have here? Oh, and you folks.
You can sure finish this game today if that's your hope.
Hello, nice to meet you.
I only have about 2 hours left to stream, so I don't know. If it's anything like a Final Fantasy game, they normally do stretch out at the very end.
Huh, little lady?
Yes, it was.
Zothba, do not frighten the poor
Oh,
child.
it's a story out there. She is. There's herself.
Scary.
You finished in like 2 hours. But I lack skill. I lack skill, Sammy. You have high hopes for me.
I came to lend my support the moment I caught wind of Avia's assault on Seed Hollow.
Speaking of allies, I don't see Roland with you. Where'd he go?
He went with Cotton Eye Joe. He has been captured. He needs our help.
He needs our help.
I think I said it better than that guy.
Eyes tell me more than words can convey.
Whether or not that depends on how quick you want to go through it.
Maybe we can do something for him, though.
Your man's quite a good voice actor.
You in, Histy?
Most certainly. I'm off to make arrangements at once.
All right. Call it intuition, or an overactive gut. But an epic storm, don't know how to explain it. But the stuff like joy, anxiety, sadness. I haven't felt this spooked since the Dolly Island disaster 15 years ago.
Oh, we're going to have a
My
flashback.
point is, you
No.
folks ought to haul it back.
What? You can't say that.
Look, my sources tell me you hail from Fanta Grande.
Fanta
You've got a
Grande.
fine ship that can cross the Grim Basin. No need to put...
It's not like that. We can't. Lilith is going to use something called the Pillar of Vayoi to destroy the sky. Do we just let her do it? And what about Roland?
Let me be the voice of reason here. You saved your princess. Mission accomplished.
This guy gets video games. He knows.
So what do
He knows
knights
what the
do
crack
after
is.
rescuing the damsel? They make sure she stays safe. You're an excellent captain, so I don't need to spell out your next move.
We're going to save him.
We're gonna save Roland.
We met him
Glad
like
you're
2
looking out for
streams
me.
ago. We're best friends.
Did you hear a single
There are 4
word I said?
different 4 Skydomes are doing.
Come
This
on.
game is the
All I'm
4th.
saying is don't
And the
push
other
your
3
luck.
are in the main game. Oh, very cool.
Ah, who am I kidding? We both know I can't. But Zega Grande is our home. At least let us keep our pride. Be seeing you around then. And quit with the long faces. We can handle this.
Need a training dummy. I have no time for your side quests, child. Do you have anything for me? I do have I have 3 crewmate cards, but I've been advised not to crash them on yet because a lot of the drops later on depend on what characters you've unlocked.
Told us we should get out of Sega Grande, but
Roland made it abundantly clear that Angramanyu
That
is
child's
more
part
than
is making me
Sega
think of
Grande's
Dumber and
fault.
Dumber.
Black power can and will consume the skies.
exactly.
You consume the skies.
Welcome back, friends.
Let's fly.
Let's fly.
You'll eventually unlock all the characters. Right, okay.
So,
We're going to rescue
We're
Roland.
going to rescue Roland.
He's the reason.
I gotta think. I'm with you.
Hank, let's
Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Our ship keeps getting destroyed. I would think we just buy a new one. Get who you want.
A more fearless crew there never was.
Let us wish them well.
They're the perfect folks to defy
No offense to your man, but
primeval
he's a shite
gods.
retail.
Kinda
I wish they had the
let us down,
costumes in this game.
not me.
Were you not showing me
And
costumes
so
last
our
night in your
debt to them
stream?
grows
Or is
heavier
that
once more.
only on the
Well,
Japanese
enough
version?
yammering.
Or is that the
They got our own work to
mobile
do.
version? Seed Hollow. Right. Let's look at our masteries of the universe. I think Low kept taking a lot of damage earlier. Oh no, I don't need that because I don't have that weapon equipped. So let's see about upping her defense. Give her some more HP. The damage taken before becoming inflicted and dizzy. Enhances the potency of healing.
That's
Yes.
nice. Great.
Oh wait, I don't play as her. So I don't think that stacks over. Right, okay. Who else we got? Namaria. No. Let's see. Offense. Let's go offense. Let's do a wee bit more damage. Setsuna. Ooh. Chargeable front slash. Don't know about that.
Oh my.
We'll grab a lot of these anyway. Buffer the Vampire Slayer up a wee bit.
How pleasant.
Back attack damage. Damage power up. We might just have to go with.
This will help immensely.
I don't know if I want to equip it though. Right, there we go. Okay, okay. Skills. She got a new skill, but Dance of Blue Petals is defense up, and that's it. You know what? That one isn't as good. So I'm going to go with. Unleash a long range, or jumps back. What a devotion. Grants hostility, but she gets 3 butterflies. No, we'll go with the Setsuna. We'll go with the Setsuna. We'll give it a go. I think he had captions here, Twitch clips now. Ooh, that's pretty cool. I normally do all my clips for social media outside. I use Opus for them. Catalina!
You never know.
I do enjoy roaming around the ship as well, just to find stuff. Who leaves this stuff lying about as well? Who leaves all these wee like collectibles? Hmm? Nothing else here, is there? No. I do that. I'm very mellow, and eventually don't bother with captions myself. With mistakes. Oh yeah, our accents are fucking horrible when it comes to captions. Yeah, let's go.
Hey,
Let's
this is
depart.
Roland. Must have dropped it during all that hubbub at the castle. Be sure you return it to him whenever he gets back, eh?
It's a book. Do you want to read the journal? Will it give me anything? If you're reading this and something must have happened to me, but you left the book here, I would have found it anyway, kid. I just want to double check. Which one was it? It was... Oh, no, it was in the actual thing. Trophies, congratulations. Oh, did I get something? Did I get something cool? Play them all. We got shards. Excellent. Nothing to claim there, nothing to claim there, nothing to claim there, nothing to claim there. Cool, 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 cool. Uprising. Right, okay. Let me see.
Alrighty.
Oh, now my phone is going. 1 second. Why when I open this, it just give me all the notifications? Damn it.
Alrighty.
Oh, getting the message back. Right, okay. The part. You know what, I might take a quick break and run to the bathroom. I will be back in a wee second, but what we're going to do is we're going to go into the voting system. Exclamation mark vote 1 for the first game, exclamation mark vote 2 for the second one. I'll be back in a wee minute. Alrighty then. There we go. Balance has been restored. Great game, minus the fucking sword sound. That drive you mad. I didn't mind it. Because you had to listen to that sword sound to actually get your parries right. That game drove me mad. Like, I took a massive hiatus from it because that game was so difficult. And then...
Wind's running wild today. But
Wind's running wild.
The Grand Cypher can't
But then when I went back the second time, fuck, I loved it.
We finally have Lyria back. There's not even time to celebrate. Lilith is so
And see that,
close
like,
to
it
her
took, what,
goal,
it took me
she's
three,
become
it was
blind
2 or
to
3
everything
streams
else.
at the end to beat that last boss.
I doubt there's anything that can stop her now.
Fuck, he was difficult.
Except us.
And it was learning every
Might
one of his
sound
moves. There was
melodramatic.
no way to power
This
through
is
it. There was
fate.
no way to cheese it. It was just
Our crew
learning shit.
versus Lilith. So there's only one thing left to do. Fly to the Pillar of Vioi and end this.
I farted as well a wee second ago, and it smells fucking horrendous. I might blame the dog. I might tell her cheerful. I can't believe Call of Duty almost beat Sekiro as well. Jesus, what was that all about? Jesus Christ. Did you find him? Did we find our Lord and Savior? Oh! Should use your inside voice? You should be used to someone not using their inside voice. Part and parcel.
This guy's a shocking shade of despair. Guess we
Shocking
got
shade of
Lilith
despair.
and Unremind you to thank for that.
That pillar scares me more. Lilith called it the bridge to the astral realm, right?
Only Granblue can open the gate. That pillar must be like an altar for the rites.
See your man as well, Neil Newborn. He, for any who don't know, he is the he is the voice actor who voiced Asterion in Baldur's Gate 3. He has now got on the list of favorite peoples because he did. I seen an interview with him the other day, and he turned around and confirmed that Final Fantasy VIII is his favorite Final Fantasy game. So he is now of legendary status. Ooh, I don't know if I want to do this. These are normally about comeuppance.
Look at all the glowing stones.
Neil Newborn.
Let's try to nab every last one.
Fuck it. Yes, you know him. Hi, I know his mommy.
Just
There we
a
go.
few more stones.
You know,
Oh,
I don't even want to go
Me,
get it.
or is the air real stuffy? Feels like I'm suffocating.
Stuffy.
It's like this place is
You know
trying
what
to
I mean?
force
Do I
us
know?
out.
Do I know what you mean? Do I? You know what I mean? He was in. I was in Until Dawn. I haven't played it. I have it. I just haven't played it. Happy days. He's very, very good. Asterion's one of the best characters in Baldur's Gate 3. They're releasing Until Dawn 2 and he's in that one. Right, okay. Oh, the new one, right. Okay, the new Until Dawn. I haven't even looked at the trailer for that.
Lucky me.
Are they calling it Until Dawn 2 or
What
is
did this weirdo crawl out of?
what hole this weirdo call? First one was good, though controls are a bit clunky. Okay, well hopefully they improve it.
For the final match.
Not yet. Reinforcements. Are those little ones also part of Granblue?
Yes, but these actually have physical shape. I think our attacks will work. Fly. Whoa! We did go through that rift, right? It looks
We
like
did?
we're still in the same
Oh,
place,
right.
but
So
everything's
this
all
he appears
hazy.
in like an alternative world, right? Okay.
Look, the monster from before. Is it just me, or does it appear solid now?
I bet it's because we went through that funky portal. I knew it was a good idea.
Oh, right, okay.
Why did you bring us back?
I wasn't supposed to press that button, I was supposed to go back. I'm supposed to go on and attack it. Right, okay. Yeah, but Ozzy. Oh, I quite liked him. He was quite good. He was in Power Rangers as well.
The pond settles.
Not so tough now, are ya?
I don't think we'll make it very far in this haze. Let's pass through the rift again and return to the normal world.
Well, now that those spooky portal monsters are gone,
I
what
didn't mind that new Power Rangers film. It was very boring for until the very end of it, and then it was quite good. Kind of raging they never got to continue on the story and go on to the next part of it because it kind of ended with a we're bringing in the Green Ranger, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be quite cool. And then they just, no, we're just not doing anything because it didn't perform well. Which is a shame. I hate it when they do that with stuff. It's like, do you remember that Tom Cruise film they did, The Mummy? It wasn't great, but they were going to do like a monsters shared universe thing, and I thought, well, that'll be cool, you know. And they'll learn as they, but no.
How many spare parts does Aqua Mine you have?
You all know the drill now. Wait for the mini minus to pop up, then blast them.
Heads up, crew. We got
Cool, here these guys.
company.
Calm down, Rackham. They seem like normal monsters. They must have been summoned here by Angra Mainyu.
I won't leave. Let's not.
Wormhole.
Huh? Did you guys see that? The shadow people just disintegrated.
Yes. Must have been the light spilling from the rift.
Finally! I hope we never have to do that again.
It seems like it's going to be a mechanic that we have to do quite a bit. So I don't think we're going to get away with that. But we have a save point, which is good because it heals us. Just like save points in real life. If we could ever find one. How do I forge weapons? Can I upgrade weapons? Ooh, I can uncap it. Nicely, Joe. I don't think you can call them shadow people. Shadow people. Ooh, quite about to upgrade this one. All of my resources. You don't have enough rupees? You don't have enough rupees? Right, so I can only go with the amount of rupees I have, so we'll go up a good few levels at least. Enhance! 68. Ooh, nice. Nice. Bit of cheeky save. Cheeky shave.
I think I sense a primal beast. Or at least something that feels like a primal beast.
And this presence isn't Angra Mainyu?
No, it's lucky me. Huh? But that's impossible.
Lyria, we're hopping between dimensions at the drop of a hat. Nothing's impossible.
That is true. That is true. We are quite established. Oh, it's Hurricane again. But with more fury. Hurricane Nihilia?
We took care of you back at Temple. We did. I absorbed Hurricane. I know it. But this primal feels exactly the same.
After the fiercest gales comes profound calm. This tempest, like all others, will pass.
Ew! What's that coming out of those whirlwinds? Heavens, don't touch it.
Well, that was a waste.
Sing, my blade.
I just want to kill you. Can you let me hit you, please?
This Hurricane doesn't have any thoughts at all. There isn't a heart or mind. Just a shell. It feels a lot like the shadow people. Just bigger.
And way more bloodthirsty. The old Hurricane was a fart compared to this
Let's go.
tempest.
The wind's picking up. Get away from Hurricane.
Oh, I've wasted my butterflies.
There's no guarding against this one. Get ready to dodge for your lives.
The four wings of vitality. Bless us with life. Heed my call. Hurricane!
Oh, I've summoned the actual one, right? Okay. It's a bit sad I can't really do this at all. Well, the real one did. Freaking so much easier to see when he's green and not purple. Oh, definitely. Oh, it's Ed. Ed software.
We'll talk later. Revenge comes first.
Happy Days is part of the gang.
Talk later. I don't trust your hero act. After Hurricane's dusted, I'm gonna make you spill your evil master plan.
Oh, great! A magical girl transformation.
Transform.
I forgot Hurricane think could do
Plays the
that?
Primal Beast in the end. Oh, very cool. So that's the DLC coming in July.
Get someplace safe.
Okay.
We can save her. Fine.
Get moving in!
Just hold on. They have to let up eventually.
Hurricane scrolls are gonna land a lot harder now. Try not to get hit.
Now the party begins. Well, lady, shall we dance? Trigger finger is itching.
Oh, went the wrong way. What's in there? Check. Dance of pink petals. We're going to get that. And then we're going to get transient. No, I don't want transient. Oh, wrong one. Wasting my petals. Yes. I'm excited for the new villain they added this. The fight's going to be a bitch.
Hurricane can't keep this up forever. Dig your heels in and wait it out.
I normally like a good bit of DLC, especially if what's on the board? Especially if it ends up being a lot better and more challenging than the actual game. That normally ends up being quite cool.
You're so thoughtful, Captain. That was great. Great support. Now, let us feel our sword.
Yeah, let's go.
You know, ready? Come on.
Ooh, nice. Nice a bit of damage. Who's next? Who's next? Oh, nobody else has moved up. I should have held off.
Let's not do anything rash.
I thought he was just about to go on to another move. Vortex of Doom! Go on, Ed. Oh, there we go.
Just a slash? Commence counterattack.
I believe in you, everyone.
The pond set.
One last push.
Oh, thank you. So on the sea. What certain as death.
It's going to do his whizzy now. Let's go. Run.
Whoa!
Invincibility.
I'm coming.
Void Ripper.
Almost there, bud. I can feel it in my pores.
We'll take them down.
Come on.
This is gonna hurt.
The butterfly emerges.
Ooh, only just.
Thank you, dear.
You're not ready to end this? This pup's on his last leg.
Ooh, okay. Go.
That's just a fit.
He's only 9% health. We've got him.
My magic.
Oh, we definitely got him now.
Yep, here goes.
The pond settles.
Rack 'em.
I hear ya.
Punishment!
Well, I don't have mine up yet. I can't do it.
Lightning eradication!
You guys finish it off. You got it. 0%. Let's go. Link 69%. Oh yeah. Depending on how far I get in this, I might just kind of keep going. See how I get on. giant horses on the nip. Spent the evening connecting my earphones to everything by Bluetooth just because I can. Just because you know I'll start going.
Is anyone hurt?
I'll set your
I feel
dog
like
off.
$1 million rupees. But what are we
Yeah,
gonna do
my own
about
dog
him?
came over to me. No clue. I'm still using speakers, but the dog is unfazed. Leo, can I help you?
Id, wait!
Can I help you?
You want to stop Lilith too, don't you?
She gets a
After all
treat
the
because
time
I
I've spent
decided
with
to give her
you,
one.
I know how
'Cause
much you
I'm her
care
favorite.
for
I'm her
her.
favorite human.
But even if you love her, after what she's done, we have to stop her.
My mother,
My mom.
or Lilith, I should say, intends to sacrifice the future of this world. I know I can't let her get away with that. But I can no longer feign
I just
innocence.
start wondering why the weird bearded man's hiding
This
the
has
mic.
gone on
So did
long
I.
enough.
So did I. So do I. For fuck's sake. Oh,
Want to come with us then?
it entertains me so much. I'm just punching him going, why do you do this to me? It's, to be honest, it's because Flemish is like, the dog's unfazed. If he had turned around and said, oh, my dog's now barking, I would have laughed a wee bit and then not done anything. But the fact he said it's unfazed, I'm like, well, we're going to have to change that.
Considering the scale of violence I inflicted on your crew.
Well, in the end, you did help us.
Okay. Every time I hear one, I want to oh, he's the worst character in this game. I hate him so much.
All right.
Every other character is like anime cool, and he's just like, hey guys. I thought he didn't have a hand there. I thought it was just a stump. More tolerable, but still want to swap. Yeah, just an annoying character. They just decided to stick him in because they're all, oh, he's cute, and we could sell plushies of him and stuff. But everyone's like, no. You want to add your party? Yes, I do. Can I get rid of him? They are. For fuck's sake. Right, Rackham, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to go because this guy's a fucking badass. I'll get rid of the main character if I could. It is great. He is.
You're not much of a people person, are you?
Sorry.
Happy days. He's on the team now. Fucking yes, lad. Fucking Cloud Strife. Here we go.
Hey, Id. What was your... I know you'll get the job done.
Miserable Mist and Armor Break. Yeah, I think he has Armor Break. Its weapons cannot be forged because it. Oh, right, okay. Well, it's a good thing you told me that because that's exactly what I was going on to do.
That's her mom, right?
Adoptive. We're not related by blood, but I owe her my life.
If you want to turn back, no one will blame you.
I've made my choice.
You might say that now, but when she's right there in front of you, it's gonna be tough.
I'd rather face her myself than have her suffer in someone else's hands.
As family, you must feel responsible for her crimes.
You know, I'll show you now. He's Armor Break, Rage. I don't think he has the other one. Oh, we could probably level him up to get it, but it's going to be an NPC using it. It's Masteries, right? Okay, I kind of assumed, which is fine. What am I looking at here? Rain of Arrows. Surge. Tomahawk, thank you very much for becoming a red mage. Miserable Mist, it's that one. I don't have enough points to even get it.
Very well.
We do have Armor Break, though.
We'll
We have Armor
respect
Break.
your wishes.
Id, there's something I wanted to ask you about. Last time we crossed swords, you transformed.
Oh, yeah.
Autobots. Right. Oh, I got a new Transformers book.
At Backlash? Backlash. At Backlash.
At Backlash. When I was young.
At Backlash.
Wonderful.
Thought I'd be saving the world with
Backlash.
You will be, kid. That's the whole reason you joined us on this crazy mission, right?
Backlash. At Backlash.
What is it?
I wanted to thank you.
At Backlash.
Protecting me while I was imprisoned by the Church
Backlash.
I was the one who captured you.
I was so bored earlier.
But you also
And I kept getting the Danhausen promo where he does that, and I was like, yep,
Who knows
yep.
what would have happened to me?
I'm gonna do it.
I guess.
At Backlash.
Take him out.
Backlash.
Share a body and powers with undermine you. Defeat the small ones first.
Understood.
We don't defeat anybody. We go through the wormhole.
All together.
Understood.
You guys rock. No problem.
What other version could it be, though? Sometime bam bam.
Adios, losers.
Adios, losers.
I get it now.
Do they speak Spanish in this world? How does he know adios?
Made from our memory
What
of
about
the real
Frontlash?
So not only was it a counterfeit primal,
It was Danhausen did one
existed
recently
at all.
when Backlash was coming up, and it's just that video. It's just him
I
going
think it's because
Backlash.
time and space is so unstable here. Reality is getting all mixed up.
But who ever heard of a shadow with the destructive force of
The
a
violence of different languages and cultures like Earth, but they must specifically have Spanish if he says adios. I'm a Mexican Finland Unark Mariachi class in the OG game. I don't even know if you're joking. I'm going to take it that you're not. I'm going to take it that you're being super serial right now.
Pretending to be the wolf of Latanya.
It's even tougher than the real manic armor. Be careful. Never have I met a creature so far off.
Never have I ever met a creature.
I can only hope you find peace and eternal rest. I know I felt this sinister chill before.
What the hell is this? Some kind of mating dance?
Is everyone all right? It's
You
got
equip
us
2
pinned down.
harps
We
and
have
use
to
the
do
skill
something.
set properly.
But what?
Shit you not. Oh my god, that's fun.
That spear.
It's your man! He's helping!
No one goes hunting without the silver wolf.
What are you doing here?
Heard you got some big prey lined up. Well, I got room on my wall for a few more trophies.
Everybody's becoming friends. It's about the friends we made along the way. It's about the friends we fucking made along the
Rather
way.
have Galanza as an ally than a foe.
I keep doing that.
No autograph till after the fight.
Yeah. Thanks the help. But hard pass on the autograph. Wind in the field.
You don't scare me, you overgrown puppy.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good. Oh, we're getting all of the heals now. Nicely job. Let's go. Let's go. I'm saving my thing. I'm saving my thing now until thing happens.
Together. I'm ready to go.
The butterfly emerges. The time is right.
Strike as
Right.
one.
Stay focused.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Oh, fuck.
I'll cover you.
Id, save me! Are your man's down as well? Hey, where's he? Where's he? Because if he dies... Oh, he's right beside me. Cool, 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 cool.
Huge.
Guess grappling's no longer an option.
I'll be right there. You okay? Let's patch you up.
Oh, shit. Fuck. I was not getting away from that. And I'm done. Go, just get myself up. I'll get myself up.
We'll take them down.
I'll help your woman then. Oh, she's back up. Sweet.
Take Alonso. I appreciate
Knocks at the chair.
Sentiment. I hate it. I'm just here for the thrill.
Of course.
Oh, bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. Bouncy, bouncy. Is that wolf in the nip?
Need your help. Get ready for payback, losers.
Oh, I have to get behind here. That's what I did wrong. Can this boy hurry up and go under stun so I can start using my big moves on him? Although no one else has built theirs up. Well, actually, it's okay.
Get cruising and give it a bruiser.
Watch out for counterattacks.
Oh, we're not getting no counterattacks. I'm doing my big old special move. Ooh, this is quite cool.
I'm ready. Shine is one. Time is chaos.
Oh, look at that. We're all getting stuck in. All of the lads.
Let me hear your battle howl.
Damn, I think Alonzo's got this on his own.
Great. Like this? Up enough. I won't miss this. Rain on the hill.
Yes! But get back to the car. Now that's what I call
Backflash.
raging hot.
Man, I wish I had your kind of energy. You really bottle it.
Like
Oh, he's going for that one again. Right, okay.
The icicles have homing capability. If you can't evade them, destroy them.
So am I going to have to fight all of the... Am I going to fight all of the kind of primal beasts again? Everybody's fucking dead. Would everyone stop being dead?
Dodging is for puppies.
Dodging is for puppies.
Smart. Now I know where it
Oh, she's back up again. Is she back up? Oh, she is.
the pond settles. Come on. Let's go!
Now it's our turn to leave this den.
Smell of fresh blood in the snow.
I can't even see what I'm doing now. I'm just hitting things. I'm hitting things and hoping they die. There you did. Did. Gotcha.
Go on
Aye,
ahead.
fair play.
Let me catch my breath.
Wait,
He's ground
you're
beef
gonna
now.
sleep here?
Ground beef.
We owe you, Alonzo.
Id, I've always wondered, when you were part of the church, why did you go to such lengths to protect Lyria?
I was only following orders. At least at first. Lyria was the key to bringing salvation.
But then you learned all Lilith wanted to save was herself. Lyria was no more than a means to an end. Once she had made Lyria absorb enough primals, Lilith meant to free Angra Mainyu and sacrifice all who opposed her.
I gave myself to Mother's cause. I
Wonderful.
trained and trained to protect
Wonderful.
her vision of salvation. When I learned it was all a lie, my life was devoid of meaning.
It's alright, Clyde Strife. We're good. We're good, brother.
There was nothing I wanted to fight for anymore, except Lyria. Now I'm protecting her because it's the first thing my heart's ever told me to do.
I'm picking all this stuff up. I'm not even going to use it, am I?
The silence is unnatural.
We'll go to blue, not pink. Blue is my faster sort of combo that kind of leads into the pink one. I think I'm starting to kind of learn his moves a bit.
What is it this time?
You.
Like weird icky stuff is coming to swallow us.
Yeah,
Weird icky stuff is coming to swallow us.
Sense something. It's the primal beast from Fondom.
Please tell me that's a bad joke. We don't have any real estate to fight on.
No! We've reached a dead end!
Well, we just turn back. Probably. Just go home. Oh, is she going to kill us or is she going to help us?
Oh, crud! Oh, crud!
Oh, this is the guy in the big sort of magma thing in the volcano we fought.
That was close.
Look at this graph!
Look at this graph! It's a phenomenal graph.
But I suppose etiquette can wait.
Yay, we're friends now.
First, a dance!
Oh, wait. Alright, okay. Okay, we're gonna fight this thing. Good.
What made you decide to switch teams? Not that I don't appreciate the help, but
I just failed on
I've had my fill of bloodlusty
And all of a sudden, a giant Igyak came stomping and trumping down the mountain.
General Galawanza, I am here as a master of not helping the vanquishers of my dear fellowship suffocated in a fog. Never hear the end of it.
The final.
Thank you, dear.
The pond settles. Hero.
I can't get across. I'm stuck here. Oh, you're going for it? Right, okay. Okay, we get stuck on. We'll rush it to the basket.
Let me say now, your skill with magic blades is unparalleled.
Not going to let you go for it on your own. It's getting stuck into you.
Because you only see me opening it. The sword allied itself with Avia to bring salvation.
I don't like the fact that I can't like do other moves whilst they're doing their move.
Harmony is the basis of power. My sword hungers.
You're right.
Looks like the tempo's about to break out.
Let's go.
The butterfly emerges.
Oh, thank you. Oh my. It's been a while since you've called me.
Been a while.
Have you by any chance grown soft?
Oh shit, right, okay.
Other than the miniature dragon.
Right, I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm alive. I'm dead. What the hell? They all just ran off and abandoned me. Fuckers. I'm critical. I'm about to die. I need some help. Why is that little fucker above my head and not helping? I can recover. I'll kind of recover myself, but okay. Who am I thanking? I did it myself. Look at this crap. Gonna make me laugh. And I wish it. Let's go. Defense down? I don't think so. Revive potion? No, no, no. I'm good. Keep it. Good. Keep it. Looks like a boss from. It's very WoW, Final Fantasy. You know, you do get that 14 sort of MMO vibe of it.
We don't put out that fire, we're toast. Literally. See where the mana's flowing from? Aim for those parts.
Aim for those parts.
The magma's rising! Don't burn your toes!
Okay, we got one. What is everybody else doing? What are you all doing? Come on. It's me and... Is it Rackham? Didn't know he was here. Right, what are they doing over there? Come on. You're not gonna make me go the whole way over there? Wow. 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 I know? Wow. Oh, wow.
Now the stage is set for our grand finale.
Oh, this is not good for my blood pressure. Finally, it stopped flailing. Now get in there.
We'll take them down.
Let's go. The thing I like about her, if you do a link attack as well, that also can make you gain butterflies, which is quite cool. Oh, I got squished. If they could stop walking away from me, that would be wonderful. No!
They've been lost to anger.
Uh-oh, we made him mad. Watch out!
I'll return the favor.
By the way, right, he's going to do that thing again, isn't he? I'm going to watch what everyone else is doing.
I don't think so.
Because the last time I got absolutely obliterated.
I needed that.
Ah, he's over there doing it. Right, okay. Oh, she's getting stuck in. Nice.
This is why you never mess with Maggie.
Uh-huh. Think I'd rather tango with death.
I want discipline. Small wings may beckon joy. Butterfly effect. Moonless.
Ooh. Anybody else? You go join in? Just me, you know? I'm not hitting from here. I'm not hitting from here.
Understood. You fiend.
That link attack did fuck off. Nobody else doing anything now? Just me? Oh, you actually taking a piss. I come the way over here and then you move away, you some bitch.
7 minutes. 7 minutes.
When I lurk to do a podcast, not a problem. Tomahawk, thank you very much for coming on. I'm in here. Tomahawk has relinquished the title, is he? Come on, let's go. Revive me. I'll do it. I'll do it. Don't worry. Revive yourselves.
Get back in there.
We're down to 20%, folks, and you all have your big moves.
No one compares to our combined might.
I guess so.
Did you expect any less?
Ed's in his other form as well, which is kind of cool.
The butterfly emerges.
moving away. Stop it.
I needed that.
Oh, he's wrecking us. Ah, he's throwing up everywhere. He's had too much to drink and he had a kebab on the way home. No. No, sirree, Bob. Let's go. Let's get them butterflies. Right, he's down at 14%. He fucking knows his beat. Everybody's health is okay. Just a scratch. It's but a scratch. You've lost an arm. We're back.
Not bad.
I think you mean excellent.
Right, I do need you to revive me this time because I used my thing last time. Let's go. Fuck.
Does it hurt? Thanks, Lyria.
There we go. 11%. 11%. Almost. Almost.
Great timing.
Great timing.
Now's our chance. Let's finish this.
They're going to finish him off now. Cool beans. I don't have the ability to do it. They can all work with it. They can all work with it. I'll let them handle it. I'll just float up here and attack. Oh, I do. Sweet.
Butterfly effect. Moonrise.
And then flow. Yeah, let's go. And then we have our full verse with everybody.
Shine is one. Gale burst.
Shine is one.
Now that's
Shit, he's still going. He's at 2%.
Harmony is the basis of power.
There we go. We be sucking diesel now.
Pleasant dreams.
Sammy, how much do you reckon I've left in this game?
Make no mistake, Skyfarers. This was merely a matter of honor. Do not disgrace yourselves by thanking me. And so, I bid you adieu.
We have been bidded adieu. Roughly an hour? Right, okay. You know what, I probably could finish this then. Well, depending skill permitting. Skill issue.
I can't believe we're still breathing. Magliel hadn't
Let's
come.
get the top of the third room. It's like 2 fights in here. Right, okay.
Too soon to celebrate. Come on.
Ceiling's gotten higher. Should mean we're almost at the top.
The more I see that sky, the more I hate it.
Yeah, Lulu's got some messed up taste.
The more I see that
This
sky.
should be the last battle. Make sure you're prepared.
God, it actually let me know too there.
Cross the finish line. Wanna strengthen your weapons?
Ed's weapon. I know Ed's weapon can't be upgraded. My God, you don't have to keep telling me over and over again. I'm not some silly person who just doesn't know things. Right, so I can only upgrade it there. Okay, fine.
You're all set. Take care of yourselves, okay?
Right, fully healed, stocked up, ready to go.
You seeing what I'm seeing? Is that the gate to the astral realm? It looks even scarier
You
up
do find on
close.
Grins, you're for
Strange,
grand.
isn't
No
it?
pun.
Gateways are usually a symbol of
No
hope
pun
and new
intended. I get it.
opportunity.
I get
Not
it.
this
It's like I
one.
time entered that
Like Roland
competition
said,
for the jokes.
If that door opens, then
I
the
didn't want a
skies
single
will
pun.
fall.
I didn't, none of my jokes won.
Yep.
No pun
We'll beat
intended.
Lilith, grab Roland, then skedaddle out of here.
Oh, it's herself. Or it's itself. Or whatever itself. Right, okay. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Doot to the boot. Fizzle with my nizzle. Ah, rolling. Oh, shoot.
Had you only seen things my way, this pitiful fate could have been avoided.
My way, my way.
Why must you
highway.
insist on quarreling with your own brethren? It's unfathomable, truly.
Weirdly enough, my own character that I play it isn't there.
Shaman. Impeccable
I know
timing is
the cutscene, but they
always
could have just added them in the background, just stand there.
Feel the grip of imminent salvation.
No.
I invite you and your other half to watch. And is this betrayal? Where did I go wrong?
You can't sacrifice our skies to open that gate! We won't let you do it!
This is our home, and it means more to us than you'll ever know.
Ah, you just ruined the tiny dragon.
Blowing up the world to help yourself? Just how selfish can you be?
It seems like a crossover with Pokemon. Oh no. Oh no. We took him. We took Bahamut for granted. We took him for granted.
Utopia. Why would anyone reject my heartfelt invitation?
I would. It's them. It's not me.
How I pity you poor misguided creatures.
Yeah, like we give a crap about anything you say. Your messed up utopia is built on sacrifice. No way we're letting that fly.
Options fail me. I can no longer sway your hearts or minds.
I'm swayed. Just call me Patrick Swayze.
As a parting gift, may you all find solace in death's warm embrace.
Yeah, okay. Okay, cool. Cool. Is this just gonna play it like the last time?
Beauty into this world. When you die, so will your legacy.
Please don't disappoint
visible
me
again?
any further.
You can
Is it going to be like the wee ones from before, where we can actually go into the other realm?
Please listen to me.
I think you've lost sight of the big picture.
Yes, we can.
Use guidance when compared to all of eternity.
Mary, I get you.
I can just absorb Angra Mindy.
I'm afraid that's impossible. Angra Mindy is completely under my command.
You sure?
Oh, it seems I'm a bit short on power. Atreus, be a dear, won't you?
Damn! Hang in there, Roland. We're gonna save you.
Oh, look at all the wee hands. They're probably fancy. Ooh, very nice.
By my blade.
We beat these suckers. We can open up a portal.
Let's go.
Glow. Could it be from all the friction? An unanticipated annoyance.
Guys, the paws aren't moving anymore.
They went still as soon as the portal's light hit them. We can use that to our advantage.
Struggle. The sooner you accept death's embrace, the sooner you can be at peace.
Oh shit! It disappeared. Fucker.
You have to understand. This isn't salvation. It's destruction.
Filthy interlopers! Death would be a mercy to you.
the hell?
This guy's getting a bit too handsy. I can't get up them. No, we'll just probably avoid him for a bit until they come down to attack.
I'll remind you of focusing its power. You have to find some way to stop it.
We got this.
Foam on the sea. What?
Don't overdo it, Io.
Overdo it? I'm just getting started. Like the dawn. To victory! We shall free these skies. The final.
Is everybody else attacking? Because it feels like it's just me.
That's what you deserve for getting out of hand.
Hey! It's on top of hand jokes.
The butterfly emerges. Come, hurry! Further danger awaits. Hey! I'm always ready to go. Reflex stings.
Now I need to restore Angramanyu. Oh, lovely.
My blade.
Let's power up before we do this. Oh, right, he's going on.
Rain on the hill.
I suppose I'll do the same then. I'll join in. Join in on all the fun. Let's go. Need more hands.
All is swept away. Angramanyu getting weaker. You're almost there.
Gale burst.
Now that's teamwork.
28k. That is nice.
The final song.
The final song, right? Okay. So we have to shift into the other portal or the other dimension again. So we have to get them to spawn the wee totem thing. That. Am I playing Returnal? Did I load up Returnal by accident? It hasn't spawned yet. I'm assuming this is it now. There we go.
We have to get you healed quick.
Wormhole!
It's not moving again.
Angramanyu's weak to light. Are all evil guys this predictable?
Am I losing? No! This is impossible! Now, I need to restore Angramanyu.
I just decided to use it. Decided to just go with it. Oh, he's dead. Whoop whoop. I don't know who of mine actually did the light-based attacks. Thank you, Sammy. Thank you.
Oh no! Victor dude!
Jesus, just learn his name. It's Roland. Or Astria.
Where do you minuscule sky dwellers find such power?
In our hearts and friendship.
Hey, look, the gateway's closing.
I'm sorry to preclude celebrations, but we're not done yet.
Mr. Worldwide, I believe in you, Sammy. Thank you. It's your encouragement that's guiding me through this.
For a fraction of my soul, I'll buy all your death.
I'm still safer.
Her power's flowing into Angramanyu. She's attempting a fusion. Is she that desperate to live on, even if it means she'll stop being an astral?
Oh, great gatekeeper, Angramanyu, I beseech you, bequeath your power
A beseech and a bequeath in the one sentence? Is serious now? Things have gone up a notch.
Something terrible is coming.
If you had only submitted, it wouldn't have come to this. Atone for your sins.
Yeah, I'm good. Right, so what they fight this thing again. Oh, that's not good.
Fuse with Angra, mind you?
Yeah, but at least your back fixed it, dude. Glad we got you out in one piece.
You really went to extraordinary lengths to save me. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart.
Well, we
There's
can't
much
really
more I
even
want
move
to
on
say.
that dark area.
We will have to wait. Angra
Oh,
Mind
Rand's
has
back.
grown
Sweet.
too powerful.
Understand. Why are you so invested in our skies?
Dance of the pink petals. There's so many of them!
Don't let the pressure get to you. Just focus on beating them one at a time.
Eugen, why are you chatting? You're not even here. Dad.
They just keep coming.
How are we supposed to get to Angra Minyu now?
It's alright. It's grand. Fine.
I think I can
Don't worry
buy
about
some time. I need everyone to gather round.
I love it when other people make a plan. Fight your way to rolling, everyone.
I was just beside him. He didn't do anything. Okay, pretty cool, pretty cool.
Don't stop! You mustn't give up hope!
Don't stop believing. Oh, who's up? Oh, everybody else? Nice.
Wait a second. It's Excavaliant's
On your left, Captain. Avengers, assemble. Or it's the end of that really, really bad Star Wars one.
Cavalry is here.
We thought you might need your ship, unless you plan on walking home.
Signed. Signed. Signed.
Quite a raucous affair we have here.
Yep, she's back.
Let's calm it down before it gets more out of hand.
Okay, this is pretty cool. How come he can stand and all that? Like, as soon as I step on it, I just lose health. And I'm obviously more powerful than him because I beat him. So, that makes sense. I call bullshit.
Look at how you've united the sky. It's time for us to join as one. The world rests in our hands.
What fun is a death match if my opponents are already dead?
This is the moment of truth. Do not falter.
I don't like the fact that they're having all these cool sort of epic heroic moments, but they have only recently become good guys. Like up until then, they were the worst bosses.
Okay, so what? Those folks are betting their lives out there. So shut your yaps and keep firing!
Everyone's here.
Our bonds are stronger than ever. We shall prevail.
Let's show her what's up, Captain. Us Sky Dwellers are taking a stand.
Yeah.
His mouth didn't move. He didn't say it. It's a lie. Hick's a lie.
You foolish heretics! Pay for your sins!
And I enjoy the fact that all this happens and she just stood watching it. She's like, oh, that's cool. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to fight these guys. Shit.
Sword hunger.
Ready, Captain?
No sweat, right? We're all here for you.
Let's win this. Together.
I hear ya. Get ready for the coolest fireworks you've ever seen.
Yes. Enough.
Wait, is that one not dead yet?
Never fear. Your big sister won't let anyone harm you. The skies are counting on us.
What's happening? What's happening? Get the hands! Ooh, what are these? Oh, I'm done too. Shit. Shit. Roland? Sir, I was right beside you.
Now's our chance to get Lilith.
Help, please.
Isn't it
Somebody?
beautiful, Lilith? This is the power of emotion. The undying light of the heart. This is where our research should have led. To the strength Sky Dwellers derive from love. Love of home, friends.
Right, okay, we're back up,
and
we're
a
back up,
family.
we're back up, we're back up.
Somewhere along
I don't know how I'm
the way,
doing damage to her, though.
You found a window into the darker emotions of the mortal mind. You preyed on fear and desperation, making empty promises, aggrandizing yourself until the people worshipped you as a god. You took advantage of their faith.
Alright, there we go, wormhole.
and raised
Nice,
armies
nice,
that
nice. Let's
overran
go.
the Sega Grande Skydom. Think back on all the violence you've incited. Does that really look like a path to utopia? Your megalomania is a threat, no matter where you are.
There we go, we're go. I don't know what's happening. Everything's happening. No. I think we are doing damage now, though, thankfully. I don't know if I was supposed to go back, but...
Is it really worth it?
There was a basket and we rescued it.
I needed that.
Wormhole!
I'm coming.
Let's get you touched up. Lost my head. Really will take them down.
Okay. The light is hot now, but... Okay, we're gonna go.
That was great.
The pond settles. Leonard, Dawnblood, I won't miss this.
Big sister's all better now.
Soar. Small wings may
Let's go.
beckon. Soar. Butterfly effect.
I don't even know how much damage I'm doing. I'm doing a little bit of damage, not a huge amount. But we'll get everybody to jump on. Yeah, we're doing okay. We're not doing great, but we're doing okay. Let me go slightly.
Now that's
Harmony is the basis of power.
32k, yes. Okay.
I'll be right there. Being true.
Let's not do anything rash.
This crew certainly exceeds expectations. Let's patch you up.
Good time.
We're back here, right? I think. Right, I think she just put it aside of there. To be fair.
No mercy. Thank you for answering my call.
No problem.
Great support.
Lead the way.
Tell me what you want, I won't miss this.
Oh, excuse me?
Again's your time and shite.
No. What do you say? No. I'm not gonna give you a treat if you call me that. What do you say?
Please. Bitch, please.
Did you hear that, darling? There you go, just there.
Fucking diabolical.
Fucking diabolical. There we go. She got her treat. You happy? You happy now, McKins? You happy? Dog got a treat.
It was perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
Ooh, she's down.
Sing, my blade.
What's happening now? Only at 68% though. I'm not taking her down quick. Second one coming. You have my bow. Dimensional warp.
The cloud's clear. The pond settles.
Good work.
Thank you.
I see through you. I'll stop you in your tracks.
Thank you, dear. Tear them down.
Sure. Charge through them.
Keep your wits about you.
Of course. Let us move. Lead the way.
Well, they stopped falling down over there in that area, so I can't actually help them. What annoying? I have to go back though. No, not even. Fuck. Right, okay. She's invisible. I need to head off here. Office tomorrow, but of course, Sarah, thank you very much for calling in. Not a problem. Enjoy. I am working from home tomorrow, thankfully, but Friday in the office. Good luck. Go out somewhere nice for lunch. Salvation.
Are you kidding me? Those giant hands are back.
Yeah, along with those lugs from before. Let's just hope the shadows don't turn up again.
Destroy the new arrivals. We can't afford any distractions.
Distractions? The understatement of the century? Damn laser beams.
Lasers.
This is where it ends.
How's that? Bet you wish you hadn't messed with us now.
I'm not done.
We need to teleport into the... We need to warp. We need to warp.
Dance of the pink petals.
Come on. Playing Returnal here. I've just completely wasted that. You gonna pop one down for me? Fuck. Right, I need help. I'm dead. And there's a thing on my face.
Just a scratch.
It's but a scratch. Is anybody coming over to me? They're all slowly walking. There. Oh no! Help! There we go. Thank you. Ah, someone else died. No. No. This isn't going to start me from the very start, is it? Bum, 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 bum. I know, Sammy. I know. Back to 100%. But okay. Ignitus, what's happening? Evening.
Right? We're all here for you.
Let's win this together.
I hear you. Get ready for the coolest fireworks you've ever seen.
Yes. Enough of this madness.
Never fear. Your big sister won't let anyone harm you. The skies are counting on us.
The skies are counting on us.
What you made of, boy?
Hey, whoa.
We're working for charity. Got it, boy.
Let's round up these petty servants of evil. They're more than master we need to use.
You know what the best kind of fight is? The kind that never ends.
Swear on
I am
the
doing it
Sword
again.
Veil Fellowship, you will not get past me.
They're holding back the Shadow Army. Now's our chance to get Lilith.
Don't take it too far, okay?
Isn't it beautiful, Lilith? This is the power of the
There we go, portal.
The undying light of the heart. This is where our research should have led. To the strength Sky Dwellers derive from love. Love of home, of friends, and of family. And somewhere along the way, you turned our eye. You found a window into the darker emotions of the mortal mind.
Zelfie, what's happening? Thank you very much for choosing me for your raid. Welcome on.
Promises, aggrandizing yourself until the people worshipped you as a
Pause, what's happening? How are you getting on? Thank you for choosing me for your raid. What were you playing? How was your stream? Tell me a bit about yourself. So you're playing Granblue Fantasy Relink as well? Nice one. I am playing it for the first time. I think I'm nearing the end on the main story. For any who don't know me, my name's Leyoric. I am a streamer from Northern Ireland. I play a variety of different games. Generally a lot of horror, kind of action games. But I love my RPGs and Final Fantasies as well, so I'm really enjoying this one. But anyone who raids into me also goes into my Hall of Fame. So give me a wee second, we'll pop over. And there you are. Thank you very much again for choosing me for your raid. And if you need the raid and run, please do so. If you want to hang about and watch me die horrendously to this boss, also you're welcome to stay. I am going to drop you a wee follow there as well, because I don't think I'm following you. So how did your stream go anyway?
You took advantage of their
Oh shit! No, didn't mean to do that.
armies that overran the Stegothronder's sky. Think back on
Oh,
all the
maybe I did.
violence
Did I?
you've incited. Does that really look
Let's
like
go
a
fight it.
path
Let's
to
go fight it.
utopia? Your megalomania is a threat. No matter where you are, I will never let you return to Andalusia.
Get out of there. Right, we need the warp again? Warp again.
Yes!
Tis but a scratch. Go.
The real fight's just getting started.
The stream was fun. Did a little Warframe, then went to the Granblue. I've been playing it non-stop, like 2 weeks now. Oh, very good. So you're probably in the after main storyline part of it. What do you think of the game? Are you enjoying it?
Keep it up.
Okay. Fine. Oh, he's going for it. I don't think I have mine unlocked yet. Yeah, this game's one of the best games I've ever played. I am really getting that sentiment. It is phenomenal. Really enjoying it. I haven't got too deep into the customization or gameplay of it. We're just fumbling through the main story at the moment. We're really enjoying it. It's a very pretty game as well, which I like.
Now that's teamwork. Is the base.
You're right.
Yeah.
They've been lost to anger.
And it was only a scene that the main storyline was quite short in this one, but I thought it might be a cool one to stream. And seen a few videos on it, so oh my god, this is actually great. It's kind of mix between Final Fantasy and Monster Hunter that I was looking for. With a little bit of Genshin Impact in there as well. Oh, lasers. Sharks with frickin' lasers. No! Fuck. Yeah. Id, save me. Save me, Id. Yes, that's right. There's DLC coming out in July as well. That is exciting stuff. Oh, that one's already dead. Back. Let's get her. Let's get her. Whop her in the face.
The moment of reckoning. Lead the way. This is for all the lives you've uprooted, Lilith. The pond settles.
Ah, she's away. Well, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. Gotta go get some good lurk for that. Not a problem. You go lurk and you go get something nice and tasty. Salvation. So this is the bit I got there last time and get whacked.
Are you kidding me? Those giant hands are back.
Yeah, along with those lugs from before. Let's just hope the shadows don't turn up again.
Destroy the new arrivals. We can't afford any distractions.
Distractions? The understatement of the century? These damn laser beams.
Sharks with frickin' lasers.
As you wish.
How's that?
Right,
Bet you wish you hadn't messed with us now.
You Jazz, thank you very much for signing the ledger. Level 6. Welcome. Level 95. Fuck, you are doing well tonight.
That's hubris speaking. No one person
Vice.
can determine right
Vice.
or wrong.
Or Bicep Lover 69. Sorry. Took me a wee while to get that right in my head. Thank you very much for signing the ledger. Welcome.
The time is
I'll
right.
support you. Strike as one.
I'm so thankful for this crew. Let's blast the next one
Pleasure
too.
working with you.
We need a thing. We need a thing. We need a thing to teleport. Teleport. Teleport.
Okay. Our new beginning.
Get up.
Big sister
Go.
will help.
Let's get back in there.
No. Wormhole. Ooh, he's not happy. He's not a happy boy.
Hands of the pink petals.
Starlight, what's happening? Just a quick hello. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for signing the ledger as well. You absolute legend yourself.
Butterfly effect.
We have a main character as well who can do health, so we can do a free for at least. The boss is going down tonight. I hope so.
Shine as one. Time of chaos.
We've now broken them as well, which is good.
No one will believe your lies. Not anymore.
Ooh, down to 10%. Be nice, wouldn't it?
Without self-control.
Be careful.
Careful now. 1%. Lasers! Fuck, right. Someone needs to get me up.
I'll be right there.
Yeah. Someone needs to get me up. Come on. This is just over the top, isn't it? Right, you need to get me up.
Let's get
let you stand now. I'm ready.
Yes, there we go. Right, full health. Let's go. Let's stick these things down.
I'll support you.
Keep it moving. Of course.
Let us move.
Focus on me. Repel to my best friend.
Come on, let's go, team.
To victory!
She's at 1%. Come on, folks.
You have my respect. Glad to
You
do
always
that.
have my aid.
My bow. Right, well, she's going down now. She's fucking going down.
With thoughts.
There we go. I don't even know if that's the last boss, but this thing's dead. Fucking dead now, lad. Don't know why she's doing that. She did fuck all.
It's over now. Please, no more bloodshed.
We can save her. Fine. 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 Fine.
It can't be.
Well, we closed the sky hole. That's all that matters. Go on, Team Cloud.
Mother.
Mama.
Our sins are grave, too great to measure. Don't you see? We were wrong to think of sacrificing this world and its people. It's not too late. I'll accept my fate, so please.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Do we get to unlock her now as a character? That'd be kinda cool.
I haven't been truthful with you from the start.
I am your mama. Oh, shit.
Perhaps it's time we correct my deception.
Oh no, more bosses.
Wings of darkness, spill forth from thy vessel and awaken. Claim thy divine right. The sky is once more yours to sunder and renew.
Well, at least you gave him a wee hug
Dragon,
first.
child of darkness and flames.
You can't!
Yes, so this is the final battle. Ooh, right, okay.
Bahamut.
It was him all along. Wait, he's on my party. How's this gonna work?
Id! My handsome little boy!
Id?
Spread your wings and burn it all to ashes! Ashes as white as your beautiful locks! Perhaps it will be this cycle. You will heed me! Make your mother proud!
Well, that was a wee bit of a shock. And everything's fucked. Everything's broke. We broke it all. The world's fucked.
Shh. It's okay. Let me be the one to save you.
No, it's a flashback. Right, okay.
Perhaps I acted in haste. So swiftly you sensed the dimensional distortion. Oh, meddlesome wings. You who defy the stars. You will sleep within this child until I have further need of you. The stars await, and we mustn't keep them. The true beginning stirs.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. You're in the live stream, Cloud. Quick, get out. Thief will come get you.
My hands. What am I? Mother.
He's really dragging out this fight.
Lyria.
Okay, that's gonna go with him. Not gonna lie.
And so it begins. The final trial.
See if this is some bullshit, like you leave yourself with like 3 party members if you chose him. Well, but also, fuck you again. She got whapped.
Go forth.
I thought she said, go fuck yourself.
Utopia.
She got haunted. They fuck.
Oh, Ed.
Well. It has left your party. Right, okay, so it's not going to leave me with 3 people. But if I go back to Rackham now, you're going to be like, oh, so suddenly I'm good enough? Suddenly I'm good enough, am I? Final chapter.
Id had become a dragon and vanished into the somber skies. His roar, which echoed like a distant peal of thunder, electrified me with sadness.
Can't believe it. I thought if we beat Angra Mainyu, we'd be free to go on our merry way.
No kidding. Why did Id have to go off and become Bahamut?
Oh, Bicep Lover, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate you.
In which case...
Welcome on.
Hey, what are you thinking about, Roland? It's like you've got all your gears whirring.
It's starting to come together now. Especially if she used a mind sealer on him.
The mind sealer is what they used to rob Lyria of her free will. What does it have to do with Bahamut?
Everything. Lilith and Bahamut, destruction and rebirth. Everything is linked.
How about giving us the gist?
Essentially, it comes down to why Lilith failed to wake Angra Mainyu 15 years ago.
Right?
I heard the Sky Realm's Bahamut appeared after sensing an overwhelming astral...
You call that the gist? I'm even more confused.
Sorry. 15 years ago...
You know what, I think
summoned
playing
Angra
this
Mainyu.
after Kojima game,
Same
it just suddenly
time,
makes more sense.
Bahamut manifested to face her. But this was not the same Bahamut you all know. Let us call it... It sensed the unfathomable power of Angra Mainyu.
Stopping Lilith in her tracks. Perhaps, to remove Bahamut from the picture, Lilith trapped the primal inside Id.
Okay, but that doesn't explain why she suddenly freed Versa.
She once told Id that she would destroy the world to bring about its rebirth.
Versa is more than capable of forcing in any case. We know one thing for sure. If we leave Versa to its own device...
You gotta be kidding! How are we gonna defeat...
And what's gonna happen to Id?
Didn't even give me a choice. Not gonna happen.
Thank you.
Still got a debt to settle with that punk. Can't let...
How do you know Id's still...
Even Bahamut's got nothing on Id.
Exactly. Guy with a stick that far up his butt? Even an apocalyptic drag...
Even if we can't get through to him, he'll survive a beating. He trounced us, right?
I've been around for a long time. But you Sky Dwellers, I never would have dreamed that a single crew could save Tempeal. Or pacify Excavalion. or defeat Angra Mainyu, but
well, I'm that good.
taught me that it's not longevity or physical strength that's important. You have my complete faith. I believe that nothing in all the world will keep you from...
It's settled. We smack Versa like a piñata till it coughs up it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, I see treats. Ooh, purple.
What are you?
What are you? I don't know what to do. Like, is it just straight on the last fight now, or is there a whole...
All right, let's go.
This world
Oh shit, I don't have a full party. Fuck!
I mean, even the god of destruction.
Get away here,
can't
man.
bear
Don't know if it's a
to
good
lose
thing,
it.
but done now.
Our
Yes!
bodies might be mortal.
Well done, Hook. You're better than
Our
me.
hearts are infinite. Though he's in a dark place right now.
No, I don't want to skip.
I hope Id doesn't lose sight of that. Even if he
Actually,
does,
I only have a party of 3 people.
I'll open his eyes again. This crew, will never abandon someone we care about. The sunrise spills over the Grand Cipher as we rush on the winds, chasing the sorrowful cries of a faraway dragon.
I might be going on this only with a party of 3. Fuck. I didn't think this through. He's shooting his poop at me. No.
Let me help you.
Me too.
Thanks for the support. I won't waste it!
Boom.
The spell is perfect. And yet...
Uh-oh, Scadio.
It seems the binding is only half effective.
Is someone else going to join on now to help?
Captain, the rest is up to you. You must save it.
It'd be my pleasure. If I had a full party. But I've kind of fucked up a wee bit. I wonder if I exit out and go back in, will let me do my party again. It kind of has to, doesn't it? I would assume so. The last proper save, I didn't save on the ship. I only have a party of 3. No, return to previous checkpoint. Yes, I'm gonna have to go up. They can't do a party of 4. I can't do a party of 3. Right. Okay. There we go. Right now we're going to select a party. We're going to get Rackham.
I've got you covered.
Good. Good that you've got me covered. I'm going to do some masteries as well because I am assuming so. What, 185. Can I take it to do this? Can?
I love learning new stuff.
I am assuming so. I would be shafting myself, but I could just skip all the text down.
Let's go.
This world is precious.
Very Final Fantasy 16, isn't this? Come to me, Ifrits.
That looks painful. Mercer won't be able to stray far from the sigil while it's still in effect. I'll maintain the spell for as long as possible, but we're in a race against time. Hold nothing back!
Pierce the skies, shatter the earth, and bring down a god. You cannot escape fate. Oh, and...
Bahamut Ursa represents both creation and destruction. Its aubergine wings drive the evolution of all beings. Life gives way to death, and death begets life.
Would you not be just terrified that this is going to give away? You're just going to fall?
May have far-reaching consequences, but I want to believe in the limitless potential of Sky Dwellers. I want to believe you can rewrite even the laws of reality.
Oh fuck, we're all dead.
It's hurting really bad. Sad and empty. We haven't known each other for too long.
Well, that was a move.
I can feel it. You wouldn't want things to end like this. We just have to save him. Who cares if you're stuck inside Bahamut? I'll bust you out myself if I have to.
Those are some moves. I can't see because there's big fucking tails in the way. No!
You were betrayed by the woman who raised you and made into a dragon's vessel.
Everybody's gonna be dead.
15 years. And yet you...
I just run over to me and then run away. That's fine.
Failed to
I
rescue
don't want they live anyway.
I don't think I shall ever forgive myself for the rest of my long, long life. In the past, I had merely existed. It wasn't until you Sky Dwellers let me into your hearts that I learned what it was to live. Unlike immortals, you are capable of change and growth. All I want is to be a part of that. To help you build a glowing future.
I love that there's a song attached to this.
I am also to blame for the failures of my people. And I swear to you now, I will set things right again.
Oh, I guess what's going on here?
I don't like to admit it, but gods are a little beyond our skill level. You need more
Are they?
firepower.
I think you mean dragon power. Lyria,
Dragon
you like the
power.
summoning Bahamut?
Yeah.
Okay, just give me some time.
Battledude's not gonna push huge.
Follow me!
Big sister's here.
The fun's just getting started.
Of course.
That is the light of the apocalypse. The
Oh, well, that's
fire of
fine. That's fine.
doomsday.
That's
Its
fine.
power
Okay.
is transcendent. If the attack lands, all the skies will be obliterated.
Oh, you love this. No, you don't want this yet. Hurry and wake up.
Is it only me doing the attacks here? Where's everybody else? We all just going to die now. We all died. Where was everybody else, eh? Eh? Reading the foe's tales. I know I was reading these tales. I was fighting these belly, but nobody else wanted the help. Nobody wanted the help of the belly fight. Shame. Like I definitely need to do the big multi-move. I think I need to keep if I manage to hold it up, I'll have to keep that for that attack.
Mercer won't be able to stray far from the sigil while it's still in effect. I'll maintain the spell for as long as possible, but we're in a race against time. Hold nothing back.
Pierce the skies, shatter the earth, and bring down a god.
Bahamut Mercer represents both creation and destruction. Its aubergine wings drive the evolution of all beings. Life gives way to death, and death begets life. Our attempt to intervene with this process may have far-reaching consequences, but I want to believe in the limitless potential of Sky Dwellers. I want to believe you can rewrite even the laws of reality.
Actually physically jumped on his trying to get over that. Fucking
It's hurting really bad. Sad and empty. We haven't known each other for too long, but I can feel it. You wouldn't want things to end like this. We just have to save him.
Right behind you. You got it.
Thanks for the assist. My pleasure. Who cares if you're stuck inside Bahamut? I'll bless you out myself if I have to. Brief pleasure stance.
Let's carry on.
You were betrayed by the woman who raised you, made into a dragon's vessel for 15 years. And yet you, a mere mortal, survived. If I should fail to rescue you,
why?
I don't think I shall ever forgive myself for the rest of my long, long life. In the past, I had merely existed. It wasn't until you Sky Dwellers let me into your hearts that I learned what it was to live. Unlike immortals, you are capable of change and growth.
They all got popped.
All I want is to be a part of that. To help you build a glowing future. As an astral, I am also to blame for the failures of my people. And I swear to you now, I will set things right again.
I don't like to admit it, but gods are a little beyond our
Digging the
skill
music.
level.
I'm quite liking it.
We
No.
need more firepower.
I think you mean dragon power. Lyria,
think you mean
feel up to
dragon
summoning
power.
Bahamut?
Okay, just give me some time. Great support.
The final.
That is the light of the apocalypse.
Right. I'm hoping I'll get me
Its power is
move before I get to that stage.
lands, all the skies will be obliterated.
Stop it! Don't you know what I said? Hurry and wake up!
John
Seven. Right, let's go.
1,000 deaths. Butterfly effect.
Does anybody else have any of their moves? What are we at? Ooh, close, 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 close. I think I got it. I think we got it. I think we got it. Yes, it's the final boss of the story.
It's already stored up considerable energy.
Quit trying to fry us, dagnabbit.
Everyone, gather around me.
Could you not have done this last time?
Keep you all safe.
Oh, that way? You told me it was the other way. You lied.
Sing, my blade.
Can't believe with that. No. We got an overdose lizard over there. He definitely has a lot of moves that will just blot you out very, very quickly. Oh, fuck. Right, okay. That is a considerable chunk of health. Well done, Proto Bahamut.
Not quite. Oh, there's the map.
Ooh.
Don't worry about saving him.
No, we got the fuck.
Unless my eyes deceive me, that id under all those scales, isn't it? He's been tainted by Versa's destructive urges. But it seems his body and soul are still in one piece. And that means there's still hope. If you can sever the spiritual shackles that bind id to Versa, he'll come back.
John Flex, don't you remember? You made a promise. Is this your idea of protecting Lyria?
You finally crawled out from under Lilith's thumb, and now you're gonna let yourself be crushed under
Shoot
Versus?
something.
Not your problem. Leave!
You can't push us away. Without us, you're pretty much the awkwardest person I've ever met.
He's right, kid. Face it, you need us.
I thought you knew us better than that, Id. None of us would
Nice
ever
one.
abandon
High
our
levels
friend.
apart. I would say so. I would say if I did a lot more of the side stuff, this would be a lot easier. And potentially, if I can't beat him, I might have to do that. Especially if I keep stuff like that keeps happening.
Look at you.
really should have done that with just a one, but fuck it. We'll risk it for the biscuit.
Don't get ahead of yourself, okay?
Very true.
I catch up a chat in just a little second.
Can't let the world end here. You haven't even had a chance to live your own life yet. Leave your feelings to me.
My own life.
Oh, he's done have it on it.
Its mind is growing more and more fractured. You need to bring him back now!
Without self. Come. Run.
You won't fall.
Oh, you're getting stuck in. Right, okay. Go ahead. I think we got it. I think we got him. I'm not going to do my move. He's on 1%. It's a waste at this point. What he's doing, folks. That is like twice as fun, but stressing. This is my second go at it as well. The first time that big charge move it does, where you have to bring its health out. I'm not doing it. I'm not wasting it on someone with 1% health. Come on. I don't like that. You can't control when they use that.
There's nothing we can't do. The final.
There's all the bars.
Did we do it?
Right, are we hiding?
Let you! He's starting to break free from Versa! Just a little more!
Hey,
Just a little more.
why don't we give him a wake-up call?
Got it!
Kid, come back to us!
Whoa! Right up here. Let's go.
Versa still has a hold on Id. But now that he's human again, you have one last chance to wrest him completely free.
I don't know what to believe anymore.
You should at least believe in yourself, Doofus.
I hate her.
Protect the sky! Did that feel like a lie to you? No, because that was what you actually wanted.
But I wanted.
Whenever you feel confused, just follow your heart. It might lead you to scary places.
We're not playing Kingdom Hearts here. We don't need to follow no hearts. We're fine.
You have to remember.
I remember. Oh.
I want to be a defender to all of you, to Lyria, to the skies.
Come on, Team Cloud, let's go.
That giant whip.
Fuck it up.
It must be the gate to Versa's home dimension. Versa is now a manifestation of sheer power, with no vessel to contain it. You won't be able to linger in this world much longer. If you can just weather these next attacks, the day is yours.
Weather next attacks? Fuck. I can barely weather the weather we have here. Ah, it's just some bullshit.
Let's see how you like a taste of your own medicine.
And I'm sorry.
Powers against you.
Even though there's so much at stake, I feel strangely calm.
We're veteran skyfarers. This ain't our first apocalyptic rodeo, and it won't be our last.
If I had a recipe for every immortal black cheesecake, I could probably buy my own island by now.
I don't mean to get mushy. I'm really proud to be a part of this crew.
I feel the same way. I won't let anything happen to you or our world.
Our journey can't end here. Not wanna. We're gonna kick some dragon tail and go on sailing to the end of the sky.
Did somebody get him up? Come on, 3%, 2%, let's go. 1%. Yes! Got him. We're fine. The power of friendship saved us. And also that guy with the massive sword. You reckon he goes to the pub, they go, ID? He's all, no, did.
All that I've suppressed.
Gee, thank you.
In the back of my mind. Damn it.
Damn it.
I should have realized it sooner. No use running anymore. I am who I am.
I am ID, the movie.
Primeval dragon. Child of darkness and flames.
My name is...
Steven. Oh, that's the one from the start of the game, right? Okay. The big lad. Then he press buttons. Is this a quick time event? Oh, you've ruined it. You've ruined it now with your personality. Please be aware as well, we have ads coming up in about 5 minutes time, and I don't know more snoozes. I have 0 snoozes. Black el snoozo, por favore.
Amazing.
Hugger?
Absolutely
Oh, not bugger.
amazing.
No snoozes left. Is it hugger?
You've suppressed
Do you see you
Versus
saying it?
core and driven it back to its home dimension.
Is everyone safe now?
Thanks for everything.
You can buy me some apples on the way back.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Fucking
We're
hit
still
that
not done.
loady thing. Another fight? Oh, it's still going. Fuck, I thought the fight was over. GG.
Leave this
We're
to
still
me.
going.
Where do you think you're going?
I have no health bar. Oh, we're jumping on. We're jumping on. Power of teamwork. Oh no, it's a... Oh, happy days. Oh, who did he steal? Was that me? Thank you, Sammy. Thank you for the advice as well and the help. What's Ed? Ed and me. Me and Ed. I would not be putting my sword away.
Forgive me.
Forgive me, master. Bum, 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 bum.
Kids these days, you two are totally nuts.
Rolling. Whoop-ha. Oh, we're just leaving him here.
Don't worry. I'll be back soon.
See, if you were in there and you did have to just float about like for ages, like what do you eat? What do you drink? Where do you poo? Do you just whip it down and just poo where you are? These are the questions I want to know. Add in progress.
Oh, good. I was so worried. What's the big idea? Don't you ever do that again! How do you think we'd feel if you never came back, huh? I mean, if it wasn't for Fix-It Dude, you'd be...
Did I get Ed as a full party member now? I think so.
Let's roll into you, Bernie.
You okay, man? Where are you?
Good question. Someplace far away?
Hey, this ain't the time for jokes.
He and Bahamut are trapped on another plane.
Think of it as a sliver between dimensions. Still, considering his transceiver seems to be working...
For now. Sadly, I think my time's almost up. The line's going to get cut earlier than I'd hoped. Thought I'd still be able to open a gate from here. Guess not.
Isn't there anything we can do?
Sure, just stay calm. No need to worry about little
Lola
old
Blue,
me.
thank you very much for the raid.
Mr.
Welcome on.
Fix-It, remember?
We went looking for shinies in the wind,
no
stumbled
gem
upon
I
you,
can't
best
get
shiny
myself out of
gremlin raid.
now.
Thank you very much. Callum Cancout, welcome on. Flange. What is happening, Uncle Flange? What is the story? Thank you very much for choosing me for your raid. We've just come to the very end of Granblue Fantasy. Oh, we played Tomodachi Life. Ooh, very nice. Now you can do the next most fun thing. Endgame raids. Yes! Once I can pause this as well. Let me know as well. Lola, how was your stream? How did you get on? What were you playing? Oh, Tomodachi Life. Real good, mate. How the hell are you? Lazy Rage, you so I want to do it too, Lola. Thank you so much. That is much appreciated. Lazy's from Lauren, you know. Lazy's from Lauren. Blanche, no. Now that you've come on here to chat this, you haven't gone on to like Ian's chat and said that you're going to bed. And if he comes on, he's going to find out and be really, really sad.
I have to atone.
He is a Larnite. He is a Larnite. I knew that. You can tell. You can tell by his face.
For mother's crimes.
No, Ian already made it. That was so funny. That
don't need to beat yourself up, kid.
That's right. We couldn't have resolved this without you.
That's right. We'll beat you up. So we've just finished Granblue Fantasy Relink's main storyline. There's more to do after it. Apparently there's like endgame raid bosses and stuff. It kind of goes very Monster Hunter at the very end. But really, really thoroughly enjoyed this. Can't believe I got found out like that. I know, you would have been better just saying nothing, man. It was, oh, the clip was hilarious though. Hilarious.
It's not really about atonement.
And the fact that Ian caught you on his stream. Oh, it's so good, so
I know
good.
it's been tough recently. But I think
That's what I love about Twitch. You love for hilarious moments like that. Now Mike rated on the catch. That's how I found it.
Let's visit Folka. Couldn't hurt.
I'm in.
I would recommend this game though. Very, very good. A lot of fun to play. It's on PlayStation Network. That's how I'm playing it at the moment. So it's on the extra premium package as far as I'm aware.
Don't let me off so easy. You all deserve an apology.
But Lola, once
Formality.
if you need to head on, if you need to go get something to eat, if you need to do after raid care, definitely do so. I'm going to bring up my raid screen now in just a little second. Once this game allows me to pause, let's do the massive cutscene where everybody's happy and we've come to the very end and we're all holding hands. Turbo, what's happening? Morning, Leyoric. Good morning. Are you having a coffee, Turbo? I think Ed's a better character than our main character.
Who's ready to set sail?
Yeah!
Setting course for Einstedo Archipelago.
Archipelago!
Full speed ahead to beautiful Folka.
I'm more of an energy drink person. I'm a bit of both. But during the morning, I like my coffee. I love just a nice cup of coffee. And then in the evening, I'll have tea. I'll have tea then as well. If I'm streaming, I'll have a can of Monster. I don't have one tonight, though. I ran out.
Of course, I'll never forget everything you've done. Never, ever.
Till I delete your save file, then you will forget.
And when we find Roland, we'll give him the thanks he deserves.
We've met so many people in the Zega Grande Skydom. New friends.
Sammy.
Allies.
Sammy. Sammy.
We saw a man torn in two by family and betrayal. We were saved by an immortal who found beauty in our changing world. Through loss and adversity, our resolve brought Lyria and I closer than ever before.
That was really good.
This story is far from over.
Good
friend
end of
is still
tutorial.
out there, waiting for us to come get him.
So the DLC for this is out in July, and going by the trailer,
As
it
for
looks
our
really,
journey,
really good.
There's still much to see. To the ends of the skies, where the stars reside. Someday, we will reach Estalucia.
Yeah! There we go. That was good. I'm going to show my raid screen now because Lola Blue TTV raided on as well. And anybody that raids goes on my Hall of Fame. And Lola, there you are, up above me, right in purple. You absolute legend. Thank you again for raiding on me. I really appreciate it. It just happened to be at the end cutscene of the game as well, so I couldn't even jump over it. Wouldn't even let me pause it. I hate it when a game doesn't let you pause it. Sure, there's himself.
The rarest gym badge in Kanto.
Ian,
You'll usually
welcome on.
somewhere making dad jokes, you know? Yeah, but like you're one of those like shiny ones that everyone has because they were like in a special drop event or something like that, you know?
Welcome on, Ian. What's the crack? Now, Uncle Flying said he has to go to bed, so I believe him. I have no reason to not believe that. I'm not going to go into someone else's chat and find him there. I'm just giving a bit of grief. Just giving a bit of grief. Oh yes, everybody. I really enjoyed that game. How'd the rest of Zelda go as well, Ian? I am still lurking you, so I'm assuming I've gone somewhere else. Wherever you've raided out to. Did you raid out to Kilika? I now live with Kilika, I think. Have a lynch mob moving around Twitter flange. They're on the lookout for him. I probably don't need to be watching that. Hi Kilika, happy days. We finally made it back.
What are we gonna do now?
I think we should start by finding Roland's house.
If memory serves, he was living at the church. But why the sudden interest?
We want this PlayStation.
The church.
So you got new stickers and character colors. Awesome. New frames.
Dang, he didn't even answer you. Guess we still need to work on his people skills.
That was actually really good crack. I am going to play the actual high level stuff and the continuation of the raiding offline. But that was amazing. Thank you folks for coming on. I love that transition. It was a bit gammy when I first made it, but it actually seems to be working quite consistently now. The bloody Irishman. I know. We'll find you and we'll take you out for a pint. Because we're fucking menaces. That's what we are. But let me see. What is the crack tonight? What is the story? How are we getting on? GG on Granblue. What's next? I'm thinking Silent Hill 2 remake. It's a bit of a difference from what I'm playing at the moment. But it's a game that I had originally decided I was going to play, and then other stuff got in the way. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. Fuck. I'm so rap talented. GG class. It's great. Yeah, so I'm going to start that on Saturday. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be good. That'll be good. Thank you, Happy Irish. Thank you. Anybody want to sign the ledger before we end stream? Just to see if we can beat the boss. I am going to look for a raid target. Ian, thank you very much for signing. Level 7 Archer. Who have we got? Who have we got? Of the people that raided, we have Ready. Still watching Ready and Killigan. You know what? I'm going to raid Ready. I haven't raided Ready in quite a while. Ready is a very, very close personal friend. So if you could hang about and say hello to Ready. If you could check out the awesomeness of his stream, that'd be much appreciated. Turbo Benzo, thank you for signing the ledger. Welcome on. We are now going to hit the raid message to pop up, and we're going to see if we can beat the boss. So top raid message is for followers, bottom one's for subs. I'm going to copy my own message. Let's see what's happening, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening. Ooh, boss is fucking beat. Well done. Congratulations, everybody in chat who signed a ledger today. You all go up a level. Congratulations. Well done. That's a second boss beat now as well. I'm going to start this raid. I'll be back on Saturday. I'm going to be playing some Silent Hill 2 Remake. And I will catch you awesome folks in. And have a good rest of the day. And enjoy your Friday. See you soon. Bye-bye.